And welcome, everybody. This is Gamesoverplastic episode. I think this is 28. Is this 28, guys? I think so.
Yep.
I'm not good at keeping track of the numbers. I am Midnight. As always, I am joined by my two amazing co-hosts and an extra special guest. Let's go ahead and start as we do with the man, the myth, the legend, Sean Mason. How you doing, sir?
Good. Coming off so I had this week off, school vacation week. Really much enjoyed myself. Didn't do a lot. I kind of just gamed a lot and just hung out. We had basketball practice, every day this week, but our basketball team's terrible, so we're not going to make the state tournament. We have next week's our last week of games. We have 2 games left, and I'm ready for the season to be over. I'm very ready.
Right on. Good stuff. And of course, I would say last but not least, but we have someone else. We have Hodge, master of graphics. How you doing, sir?
I'm good. I'm tired. I was out late last night at a bar, and so I slept in until like 7:30 or 8 today, which is late for me. So I'm groggy, but I'm ready to go. Let's do this.
Groggy Hodgie with Grogu. Is it Grogu behind you? Was that his name?
Yeah,
Nice.
I've had that for years. My little baby Yoda. Felt like he can chill here and watch the camera.
Baby Yoda's cool. We like Baby Yoda.
Oh yeah.
And then last but not least, Lord Benjamin.
Hello.
I don't know why I called you a lord, but you are, so you're royalty. Welcome back. How you doing?
I was a little stunned by that. I wasn't really sure how to receive it. I thought maybe it was like a case of mistaken identity or something, but it wouldn't be the first time somebody's confused me for somebody else. So
The Lord of Pennsylvania.
there you go. I'll take
Mayor
it.
of Butler.
Yeah.
Mayor of Butler.
Former.
Forever. You're forever the mayor.
Forever.
Yep, you're forever the mayor in my book.
Hodge, your
What?
background. Is your background new? Because you moved somewhat
Yeah.
recently, yeah.
Yeah, I just moved into here in December, so yeah, I wanted to go all out with the background. This was supposed to be a guest room, but it's so small that I couldn't fit a bed in here, so I was like, screw it, it's just going to be a decked out office instead.
Whenever I see people's backgrounds, I just assume they're kind of like mine, where I'm like, yeah, I have some stuff behind me, and people are like, oh, that's a nice background, and then you look at the rest of the room, and you're like, oh, there's just a bunch of stuff in there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I feel like that's how everybody who is on camera is.
yeah, off camera it's just a closet and there's like 3 posters hung up, so it's really not that exciting off camera, but
Yeah, no, I
yeah.
understand.
Yeah, Hodge has enough decorations for the whole show. Like, I have a little bit and Sean has nothing, so
Nope,
Hodge is
I'm
carrying the squad.
I'm just in a white room.
My newest addition to my background is my Alan Wake 2 lamp.
That's
I
really
got it
nice.
when I got the collector's edition. The only time I was ever going to support LRG because that company sucks, but
Yeah,
I'm too obsessed with Alan Wake 2. So
I
had to do
very
it.
nearly bought that as well, but decided not to at the last minute.
Yeah. Thankfully,
Hodge, that looks like a
the thermos
Deluminator
wasn't.
from Harry Potter.
Kind of. I mean, that's what it does in the game. It turns on and off lights to change the scenery. So, I love that game. Everyone knows it, but I love that game.
All right.
But Ben, I had to ask you. I guess I've never asked you this. What, not to get political, but what kind of shit would you have to have gone through as mayor if you were mayor during the infamous assassination attempt?
I don't know. So technically it was like a couple miles from me that it happened, but
Mhm.
technically it was outside the city limits. Now, of course, all the publicity and everything said Butler, Butler, Butler. So you're going to get all sorts of calls and emails and everything. But I think that probably most of the actual groundwork probably would have been performed by feds, states, and probably not even that much the local police. And I don't even know if that's true or not, but I'm guessing. I imagine I probably would have had to do a lot of PR. And I don't mean like spin. I mean talking with people, interacting, getting lots of hate calls or joyful calls, depending on people.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't have been fun no matter what it was. So I'm glad I didn't have to.
Yeah. That was I mean, obviously the whole thing is crazy. It's a presidential candidate almost getting killed, but the fact that it was in Butler, I was just like, I know people from there. I've been there.
Yeah.
The wouldn't have happened under Ben's watch. Wouldn't have happened.
No, that's right. When the motorcade went by, because they took him to the hospital. I live in between where it happened and the hospital, and they drove right past my house. So
that's crazy.
Yeah,
yeah.
I was power washing my house. So that day,
Like for real? Like not the simulator, like actually
I was
power
actually
washing?
power
Nice.
washing. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Look at you. All right.
I can't believe they made that in real life. I thought it was just a video game.
Yeah, they took it from the game, huh? Made it a real thing.
Yeah, they should. I've been thinking like all the power washers, like you can go on Amazon and buy like a pressure washer. They should just brand them all with the game, and they'd probably sell better.
Power washing
Like
simulator.
tie-ins. Yeah.
In real life.
Yeah.
The collector's edition with a real power washer.
All right, boys. Well, we're thrilled to have you back again. As I mentioned before, this is year number 2, or as I like to call it, Gamesoverplastic Year 1 Remastered. Sony would be proud. We had Lockmort on last week, and just like in year 1, we're following up with Ben. So we're remastering this. Like I said, PlayStation would be proud of us here. We're really happy to have you here. On this episode, folks, we're going to be doing our top 5 games with a score below 70. So 69 and below on Metacritic or OpenCritic or both. Games that are mid or bad that we love that aren't actually mid or bad. That's what we're going to tell you about. Let me get the administrative BS out of the way. So this is Gamesoverplastic. We're on all audio platforms. Amazon. Why did I say Amazon? We're not on Amazon. We're on Apple and Spotify and Overcast, Pocket Cast, and everything else. If you're listening to this on audio platforms, know that this is available on YouTube with cams and graphics, everything at youtube.com/@gamesoverplastic. So check us out there. Leave us a subscription, leave us a like, leave us comments. We like those. It helps us move up the algorithm, maybe get a couple new listeners. If you're listening on audio platforms, please feel free to rate the podcast 5 stars. It doesn't cost anything, assuming you like it, of course. If it sucks, then just don't rate it. That'd be good.
Leave 5 stars
we
and then
appreciate
explain
you.
why you hate us.
Yeah, put 5 stars and be like, these guys suck. Hodge's background looks terrible. He's got too much lights, whatever.
Fair.
But yeah, we're thrilled to have Ben back. He's not feeling the best, but he still showed up for the boys to put on a great show. So we're very happy.
This is just my new normal now.
Yeah, you're getting.
Yeah, I've been sick for so long. Like I've had a mild cold for so long that I just feel like this is my new baseline. So hey, I feel great comparatively.
Yeah,
nice. Well, let's go ahead and why don't we start with you, Ben? You get those vocal cords going. Let's get into what we've been playing. Let's do that. Ben, you want to start us off? What have you been up to?
Sure, I will do that. I've been kind of stuck in a rut of live service. And I get stuck in a rut of live service. I like playing with friends. I like playing, I'm a very social gamer. I love single player games too. People who have known me in the past know that. But so lately I've been playing Overwatch 2 a good bit with the boys. Just not like I played a lot of Overwatch 1 originally, the first couple of years it was out. Then I came back to it occasionally. And then when Overwatch 2 came out, of course, I went in and checked it out. But then sometime in the last, 4 or 5 months, some guys were like, hey, let's play Overwatch 2. And I was like, sure. And then basically it turned into like a almost every night kind of thing. Sometimes only for like half an hour, 45 minutes. Sometimes it's for a little longer. But, just playing a lot of that. And of course, they've just redone a lot of stuff for season, I think it's 15, to modify things. I've only played once since season 15 started. So, which was only a couple days. But admittedly, I don't know a lot about it other than that the perk system is in place. And the perk system's really cool. It adds a lot of, versatility to your characters. Basically, when you're playing, once you play for a little while, you know how you like in hero shooters, your ultimate builds up and eventually you have an ultimate and it can change the flow of the game. Well, the perks build up over time. I think to some extent they build up on a similar trajectory to how ultimates build up, and they give you, just different things that your character does. So, for instance, Reinhardt, who's a tank. With Reinhardt, one of your perks that and every so often you have 2 levels, and each level you can choose one or the other of the perks that are there. There's 2 different sets of perks. So the first level might be, I can't even remember what the options are because I always just click them so fast because I'm running in and out. But for Reinhardt, like the first one is, your fire strike. Whenever Reinhardt throws his axe or like swings his axe and he shoots a thing of fire, however much he shoots can heal you for that amount, based on how much damage it does. And then the second level, the one I always pick, is like with Reinhardt's shield, you can knock people backwards instead of just like protecting yourself. It actually acts as a weapon. So that's just one example or 2 examples really of like an overall system rehaul that they've done for this season. And I haven't really checked out too many characters because I tend to have my 3 or 4 that I usually stick to. But it seems like every character has something that is unique to them that really changes the flow of the game a little bit. Maybe not dramatically as much as an Ultimate would, but it gives you some more versatility for sure. So that's the first thing. That's kind of like an always constant thing that I'm playing a little bit here, a little bit there. The other thing is another thing that I'm almost always playing. It's Hunt Showdown. I think I've talked about Hunt Showdown with you guys before, but I can't remember for sure. But Hunt Showdown 1896, they recently, within the last, 8 or 10 months, rebranded it. And totally did an engine redo, an overhaul. They updated it to the new Cry engine. And this is it's an extraction shooter, first person extraction shooter set in 1896. And so all the weapons are older. A lot of them are based on real weapons that are out there, rifles and pistols and bows and everything. And essentially you go in, whether it's solo or duo or trio or a mix of all of them, and you have a bounty target, which is like a monster. There's zombies everywhere. It's the whole thing. It's the zombie thing. This is like an 7 or 8 year old game at this point, but people, you go in to go to a bounty, you find clues to figure out where the bounty is. You eventually get to the bounty, you fight it, you banish it, witchcraft, whatever, I don't know. And then you take the bounty from it, and then you try to get out. Of course, during that whole thing, it's PvP. So there's other players around that can come and, of course, try to steal the bounty from you, or maybe you just get in a fight in a random field before you ever get there. So it's always a little bit different of a game, no matter how the game is going. It's always going to be a little bit different. One game, you may not see anybody. You may be able to go in, get all the clues, kill the boss, get the bounty, get out, never see another soul. Other times, everybody is on your ass immediately, it feels like. So it's just cool that every game is a little bit different and dynamic.
How's the player base work? You said it was like a 7-8 year old game. Is it pretty active, or?
Yeah, it still is pretty active. It's starting to get a little less active over time. I think the refresh of the engine really helped bring a lot of people back. And of course, there's always people being like, I'm tired of this game. They haven't fixed this and that. It's like, okay, you've got 5,000 hours in the game. It's fine. Like, you got your $40 worth. Yeah. You can move on now if you want to. It's I'd say, so there's no crossplay and there's no cross progression. So you've got your console base separate than your PC base. But even with that said, if you look at Steam on a random day during the height of the player base, probably looking at like 10 to 15,000 on Steam, which for a game where you have a maximum of 10 to 12 people in a lobby, that's fine. That's totally fine.
Yeah, that's solid.
Yeah,
it's plenty of people.
Is this the one that had the Post Malone thing added to it?
Yeah.
Okay.
They just finished that event up, actually, maybe like 2 weeks ago. They run events from time to time, and each event will have a theme, and of course it comes with an attached battle pass. That's the only time they run battle passes, is during events. So you may not have one for months of the year, but then you'll have one that goes for a couple months as well. But yeah, Post Malone, they had him. He's a fan of the game, and they found that out, and so I think they were working on a concept already and just put him in. It was called Post Malone's Murder Circus. Okay. And really what that consisted of is, a circus with a new enemy type and some new mechanics. But the main thing, the Post Malone part, is he was the ringleader of the circus in the lore, and they just made some skins with Post Malone, which, Post Malone shockingly fits well into 1896 Apocalypse really well.
He does.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and then
that's cool. He's a fan of the game, so it's organic, if you will, not just like a paid shill. Yeah,
right. Speaking of Post Malone, I still got to buy his Oreos. I keep thinking about that. I love Post Malone.
I actually bought a pack. They were really good.
Really?
Someone I work with is like obsessed with Oreos. Like, she's literally obsessed with them and buys like all the different special editions. She said those are the best ones she's ever had.
Really?
They're really good. I mean, my favorite is
flavor are they? Oh, sorry.
It's there's two. It's one side is like a vanilla cookie, the other is a chocolate cookie, and then on the inside it's like a swirl of I can't remember what it is, but it's a swirl of two different flavors, and it's really good. I mean, my favorite Oreo is the Halloween ones, just because I love buying the orange creamed Oreo at that part of the year. But yeah, those of flavored Oreos, those are really freaking good. So
Nice.
Maybe I'll pick some up.
Yeah,
I love Oreos and I love Post Malone, so I gotta check it out.
Yeah.
Real quick here, are you done with Showdown there? You good on that?
Yeah.
One thing I forgot to do, shame on me, we forgot to plug where people can find you, Ben. You've got the HP podcast, right? The Handsome Phantom podcast. What else has been up with you? Is anything you want to plug or anything going on with you that you want to talk about?
I would just tell people they can go to my Twitter if they want to find me, and if they don't want to find me there, then I'm probably not worth finding, honestly. Like, you can find me Ben Smith 2588 because my name is Ben Smith and I can't come up with anything original. So you can find me on Twitter.
It's a very very different name. Like, I don't see anyone having that name.
Yeah, it's really
name.
unique. My dad's name is John. Is even more unique. So
John Smith.
Yeah, it's rough.
I think I've only known one John Smith ever, maybe.
Yeah,
Very,
the
very
really
rare.
good part, like, I mean, I've lived a very public life, so I'm a little easier to find. But the really good part before that about having a name like Ben Smith is that people can't really figure out who you are because there's so many of you. So, there's an advantage, I guess.
All right, there you go.
You should try it sometime if you want.
Check out Ben on Twitter and check out his awesome podcast, the HP podcast, which you can find on YouTube and audio platforms and everything. And it's good. I have listened to it several times and it's good. I don't have a lot of time for podcasts, but I have checked out the HP podcast at least on more than one occasion, and it has been quite a good listen.
Appreciate that.
Ben, what else are you playing? I didn't mean to cut in like that.
So I've played I'm just going to very briefly mention these. I didn't write them down. I've played just like a couple hours of a couple different games. So I played a couple hours of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 so far. I don't really have a lot to say about it just because I haven't done a lot. But I can tell you that the little bit I played of Kingdom Come Deliverance 1, it's a dramatic improvement over that.
Nice.
And then I also played just a little bit of Civ 7. I'm planning on getting pretty deep into Civ 7. I just haven't had the opportunity to do so yet. But then the final thing I've been playing a lot of is Marvel Rivals. And again, I'm a hero shooter lover. I love Marvel. I've loved Marvel since I was a little kid. That doesn't mean I think everything they put out now is good as far as movies. But I love the characters. So. They're so like meaningful to me. So when Marvel Rivals was coming out, I was like, great, that's awesome. And man, I've been grinding this game. I play at least a couple matches every night, maybe since it came out, other than the week I was away. Like I was away from home for a week. Other than that, I have played at least 2 matches every night. And of course, most of that has been ranked. So this current season, I am in mid-plat range so far, still climbing because they just are still climbing and trying to figure out where I'm actually gonna finish out. They start everybody at the bottom in Marvel Rivals, which is an interesting idea. They start everybody at bronze 3, and you got to work your way up. And then of course there's all the way up to like 7,000 levels of eternity. I don't even know what they all are because I don't look at the rankings that high because I'm not going to get there. I don't belong up there. It's fine. I'm okay with it. But it's really a fascinating game. They have taken so much that they learned from Overwatch, stolen a lot of it directly, which, there's no such thing as something new under the sun. So I'm okay with it personally. They've added in the Marvel flair. They've got so much potential. They just added 4 new characters this season, 2 at the beginning, 2 just this week in the middle of the season. And they've got the entire Marvel universe to work with and continue to grow that and expand it. The one thing that I'll say that Marvel Rivals has that makes it pretty cool. So you might play a game with 5 different characters that have no associations in the comics. Maybe they've never even met before. And you'll just play a game with 5 different heroes or 6 different heroes and you fight. Other times though, you can choose, if you and your teammates so choose, you can get characters that do have more of an affiliation and they have team up abilities. And the team up abilities are what really make Rivals pop. If you get a whole team that knows how to utilize their team up abilities, you can be a real powerhouse. Just a very brief, for instance, the Fantastic Four, all 4 of them are in the game now. And one of the things that happens is if you have, Invisible Woman alongside of any of the other 3 Fantastic Four, she can actually give them an extra buff to their shield. So you can get, I think it's like 200. I think it's almost 200 more HP. It's brief periods of time throughout the game that have to be activated and everything. But if you figure that like that happens during a giant team fight, you have 200 more HP out of your potential 4. Well, some of the characters only have 250. Some of them have 700. So, the thing has way more. Johnny Storm has way less. But if you figure with Johnny Storm, you're doubling your health for a couple seconds during a big firefight, like it totally does dramatically shift the game. Others have different things like, Magneto and Scarlet Witch have an ability where if Scarlet Witch is playing, Magneto gets a sword that like goes way far out and can slash people way across the map. So it adds a lot of different dynamics. And one match you could be playing against Magneto and totally roll him, and the next match he has Scarlet Witch, and he's just going to absolutely decimate you because he has those extra abilities. And so it keeps the game interesting, keeps it lively. You kind of got to keep an eye on what everybody's running. You got to strategize on your own. But as the game progresses, just more and more strategies are coming out. It's becoming less and less chaotic. It was very chaotic at the beginning of any new live service game like that. And so, I'm enjoying it. I do think I'm sure I have a little bit of a bias towards it just because it's characters I love, as we all would. But I think that the more and more it goes on, it's just becoming very clear that this is a well-made game. And I think it's going to be around for a while. They're doing big, cash tournaments and everything. And it's NetEase. I'm sorry, I'm feeding the giant Chinese machine, but it's a game I love, so I can't really. I'm going to compromise every now and then. That's fine. It's fine.
Who do you like to play as, Ben?
I tend to be more of a fill person. I don't mean fill the character. I mean like I will fill in the role that is needed, or the character that's needed. So if I'm playing, and most of the time people want to grab the damage characters first, and they'll jump in and pick those. But generally, I will go, if I go tank, I go in as Magneto or Thor. Now that was true up until they added the Thing, which I just played for the first time yesterday, because it just came out yesterday. And so Thing from the Fantastic Four, I'm learning how to play them. They're a bit of a more of a dive tank that just gets in there and brawls. But otherwise, generally, my two main tank characters would be Magneto or Thor. And then the second most common that I'm playing is support, which generally I will play as either Luna Snow, who is a newer character from a tie-in just a couple years ago.
Never even heard of that character.
Yeah, she's like a famous kid pop star. Not kid, she's young adult, I guess. Who's really interesting to play. She's got a cool kit, and she's very easy to play too. So she's very powerful and very easy to play. So she's almost always you're going to see Luna Snow playing against or on your team. Or I will play Cloak and Dagger, which is interesting because they're two different characters in one. One heals, one does damage, but you can quickly swap between the two while you're playing. It's kind of like, most characters have like a shift ability in hero shooters where it's a movement based ability. Cloak and Dagger shift is switching from cloak to dagger. And then once you do that, you end up having a different set of abilities based on which character is displayed on the screen. And then for DPS, which I very rarely get to play because there's already too many DPS on the team, there's no role queue or anything, which I'm mixed on. I think that teams should just learn the best team composition for them and not be put into one, but I wouldn't mind an option to play in role queue as well as an option to play open queue. But when I'm playing that, that 100% depends on the team we're going up against. There's some DPS characters that are really good guarding against dive characters, such as Wolverine or Spider-Man or something. There's people who are going to try to get in your back line, or maybe you need a little bit more range, and so I'll pick that. So that could be anything from Winter Soldier to Namor to Squirrel Girl. Those are probably the three most common ones that I've played. But I've played a lot of different DPS characters because that one I think is the most demanding of needing to know how to defeat the opposing team composition. And that's kind of my lineup.
All right. Good stuff. Good games.
Yeah, I wait really quick. I played with you that one time. That's the only time I've played.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Still. But yeah, when we played with a bunch of guys from the Spank Bank, and that was a lot of fun. But Yeah, I liked Overwatch also I played it. I remember they had like a free weekend one year on Xbox, and so I just played it and I really liked it, so I bought it.
They have a free weekend every weekend now.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, is Overwatch 2
The game's
free to play now? Right?
Overwatch 2 is free now, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I haven't played that. I should, but because I was really big into goddamn I always call him Zendaya, but I know that's not his name. Zenyatta, is that what he was? The
Zendaya.
healer guy.
I almost spit out my coffee.
Zendaya?
Yes,
Zendaya?
Zendaya. Yeah,
Zendaya. I would always play as him because I liked the healing, and he was good at attack, but I liked the healing part too. And then, but Marvel Rivals, I was just playing as the Punisher because I just don't know about that.
Right.
I was not good.
I mean, you literally downloaded it like while we were playing, I think.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
But that was fun. I gotta hop back in with you guys because I know a lot of guys in the Discord are always asking like who wants to hop on. So I gotta do that again.
Sure.
It was fun. I was really stoned last time, so I don't remember it that well, but
yeah,
I remember
that's
having
understandable.
fun. So
yeah.
But yeah.
All right. Good stuff. Yeah, I've played Rivals. I can't really get into it too much, sadly. It's probably a me issue. I think there's too many heroes. It's too much to keep up with.
I'm
too many options. Oh no, too many options.
I'm the same as Ben though, where I'm a social gamer, so I will put off games to play live service games instead. Like I do COD a lot, or I'll play Fortnite with people, or Fall Guys, or Helldivers. Like I'm the same person where it's like if friends are online, I'm gonna hop on and play that instead of do a single player game. As you guys always say, I'm the live service guru or whatever on the show. So
yes, you are. All right, Hodge, you want to go ahead and get into what you're playing now?
Yeah, sure. Speaking of playing games online, me and a couple guys in Discord have gotten really into playing PSVR 2 together. We've been playing a game called Walkabout Mini Golf, which is just this really fun mini golf game where you're either in Japan or you're up on the cliffs of Scotland, or you're like there's a Wallace and Gromit level where you're at Wallace and Gromit's house.
That's freaking awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, there's one of Labyrinth, the Jim Henson movie, and there's all these. The only one I don't have is there's an Elvis level, which I'll get eventually, but it's free to play if you have PlayStation. I don't know if it's premium you need or if it's essential or elite or whatever the fucking terms are called.
I got premium.
Yeah, so I have premium, so it was free on that. But then you can buy each level for $4, or you can buy the entire thing for $50. So I think there's like 20 levels, so it's cheaper to buy obviously 50 than spend $80 on buying each level. So I bought that, and we've just been playing. There's one that looks straight up like Rivendell from Lord of the Rings. It's called Alfheim, but we played in Atlantis yesterday. It's a really, really fun game, and when you're hopping on we had a group of 4 playing mini golf together online. It's just a blast. So we've actually had a couple people like, I'm going to wait for the PSVR 2 to go back on sale because I really want to play this. I'm like, yeah, it's a lot of fun. So that's the first game I'm playing, and I've won almost every round except our buddy Eric. He won one round. So
is that game a PlayStation exclusive, or is it on like MetaQuest 2 and stuff?
It's on Quest. Yeah.
Is there crossplay?
I believe so. We looked it up, and I think when it launched it wasn't, but I'm pretty sure they've updated it because our buddy Zach has it on, or he's going to get it on Quest and join us. So, and then we just use the Discord voice chat to talk to each other. Yeah, it's a blast. So
I'm wondering because that's like a slightly cheaper entry point for people.
Yeah. So if anyone has a Quest, you could play it on that as well. Because it's funny, when you like start a room, you just basically start a room and they have to join it. And when it says invite at the bottom, it has the Oculus logo. They didn't update it to have the PlayStation logo. So
that's shocking. It got through their QA because they usually won't allow that.
Yeah, so it has the Oculus logo, and I wonder if, because it's the old one where it's literally just that oval, so I wonder if they just didn't even notice that it was the logo. They thought it was just a button or something. So someone messed up. So it has that, but the invite button doesn't even work, so it doesn't even matter. You just tell people, hey, this is the room name, join it. But yeah, it's a lot of fun to play with multiple. I mean, I've played a couple on my own, obviously, but it's so much more fun when you're just golfing with the bros. So it's a hell of a lot of fun. I don't know if you guys have anything to add to that before I move on.
That sounds like a lot of fun. I used to play those golf type games, not in VR, just regular ones with your friends. Yeah. And those were a lot of fun. Good party games.
Did you ever play golf with your friends?
I did. Yeah, it was one of them.
Yeah, that
was Steam and stuff.
I think it's on Game Pass. So we've played that one.
It's
too.
Fun. That's a fun game. Yeah.
Yeah.
And in VR, I bet it would be even more fun, more immersive, more enjoyable.
Well, because I mean, I love this game, but on when I bought the first PSVR, I bought it because when it was finally on sale for like $300. Like they'd finally dropped the price enough, and it was a bundle that came with the Joy-Con or like the joysticks and then the camera, and it came with games, and it was all that for $300. And I had to work one weekend because I got a promotion because we were so busy that I got promoted to a better, job. And they told me, like, we need you to start at this position on Monday. Like, we can't train you over the course of a few weeks. So if you come in Saturday, we'll pay you $100 an hour to train. I'm like, well, I'm not turning down $100 an hour. So, so I went and I worked for like 5 hours. And so even though I didn't have the money in my pocket, I was like, I'm going to go buy a PSVR. And so I bought it, and it came with a game called Everybody's Golf VR, which I know they have. Yeah, they have a non-VR version, which I know everyone loves, but the VR version, because that was actual golf where you had to tee off and everything. So that one was amazing. I wish they would have updated it, but I'm pretty sure that company got bought by Meta, if I remember right. So there's no way they were going to update it for PSVR 2.
Yeah, they quit updating it probably like 2 years ago now, almost.
Yeah, which it sucks because that game was awesome. So I'd love a real golf game on PSVR 2, but the mini putt one is just as fun. Do you have a PSVR 2, Ben? I'm not sure if you.
No, I don't have a PSVR 2. I have a Quest 2, and I have a PSVR 1. But I realize I love VR and I really believe in the medium. But I personally just get excited. I buy a VR system and then I just don't play it as much as I should. Yeah. Honestly, I do the same with my consoles. I mostly game on PC. So I'll buy everything because it's new and shiny and I want it.
I'm the same.
But then I end up not utilizing it as much as I should. So this time I actually did the smart thing and didn't buy a VR2 for PlayStation. Because
if you ever want to join us on Quest, you are welcome to.
I literally just looked it up and put it on my wish list.
Oh, nice. So, yeah, it's so because you can have up to 8 people golfing at the same time. So we're looking forward to eventually getting like 8 people to join. Yeah, but cool. I'm the same though. I don't utilize, especially VR, as much as I should. Like when I had a Quest, I have the original, and it's basically just a brick now because nothing plays on it. But I would play Beat Saber like if I was gonna do a home workout, I would just hop in and kind of warm up by flailing my arms playing Beat Saber. But I did not use it as much as I should. But so I remember Pueb, who's one of the guys who one of our buddies who was golfing with us. He goes, "Thank you for telling me about this game because I bought this thing and I haven't used it in like a year. So it's a good reason to dust it off." And I'm like, So almost every weekend we're getting people to be like, "Hey, let's tee time it, in a half hour. Let's do it." So yeah, you should definitely join us sometime. It'd be a whole lot of fun. But the other game, I actually just started playing it this morning, was because I did it as a little warm up before a workout as well, is Pistol Whip, which is another VR game. And that one is just like John Wick simulator. It's like Beat Saber, but you're John Wick shooting people. And it's so much fun. And I'm surprised because it's one where you're constantly moving forward, but I'm not getting the motion sickness. Like I remember on the original PSVR, I tried playing that Astro Bot Rescue because obviously, as everyone knows, I love Astro Bot and I love platformers. But when you're playing as Astro Bot, like it's just an overview and you're controlling Astro Bot running around. And when you move forward on the screen, your screen starts moving forward with it. And I get motion sickness with that. So I'm very lucky that with Pistol Whip, I'm not getting that motion sickness. But it's it's one of those things where I'm happy that PlayStation offers PSVR games on their subscription service because it opens doors to actually try new games, and I love that. So it's cool that this is free with the service, and obviously I'm sure there's DLC packs or whatever in it. But I'm happy that I'm forcing myself to use my VR more because I spent $350 on it and I shouldn't just let it collect dust.
Pistol Whip is top tier. It's great.
Oh yeah. I think my brother bought it on my Quest back like years ago because I brought it home that's the one thing I love about Quest is how portable it is because it's literally just the headset. You don't have to plug it into anything. So I'd bring it home for like Christmas and my brothers would always play it. I was actually going to give my old Quest to my brother for Christmas this last year, but I turned it on to update it and it's basically a brick at this point because I have the OG one and that thing does not play many games very well anymore.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, sorry, I didn't get you one for Christmas because it's a brick. But yeah, that was the other game. And then obviously the big game of the week is I've been playing Avowed. As people know, I'm not the biggest fantasy RPG kind of person, but I am actually loving this game. It is a beautiful game. I'm playing on journalism mode because that's just who I am at this point in my life. But it's just a beautiful game. The writing is, I can see where people are like, it's not that well written, but the lore is pretty cool. Like you're the godlike or whatever it's called and all this. And so people are kind of skeptical of you, and it's kind of like the Last of Us fungus takeover kind of enemy. It's a really cool concept. And I'm loving the fact you can do like one hand you're a mage and the other hand you have your sword, and the combination of that kind of stuff. It's I love the just run up to people. They got the exclamation point above their head, and you're like, can you go find my brother? He's lost in the woods. And I'm like, yep, let's go do it. Fuck it. And just doing these side missions. And yes, as someone who's not really a huge open world RPG person, obviously I know a lot of people are like, nah, KCD 2 is the best game of the year, or it's not as good as Skyrim. Or I'm like, I don't care. I like it for what it is. I'm not going to compare it to other fantasy RPGs because I'm not an authority on fantasy RPGs. It's just a fun game. And I think for casuals who just want to play a game, they're going to love it. Obviously, like our buddy Locke he's already basically said Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is going to be his game of the year. Like there's nothing going to top that for him. Just like I think Baldur's Gate 3 was his favorite of that year. And so I know for the hardcore RPG fans like this, like KCD is the one that everyone's like, this is one of the best games I've ever played. But for me, who's not that big into those games, I'm really loving Avowed, and I'm excited to keep playing it.
Are you playing in first or third person?
I've been mostly playing in first. I did try third for a little bit. I like it because you can see around you better, but when you're doing the actual like spells and stuff, you look kind of goofy in third person. Like it just doesn't look as fun. So I kind of like having the first person where I see my hand like throw the flame and all that kind of stuff. I've been enjoying that. And it's a little easier to pick up items when you have your crosshairs in front of you rather than kind of behind you and over your head. So it's a little easier to pick up items and stuff, but I prefer playing games in third person over first in games like this, but it controls better in first person, so I've just been sticking to that. And I'm playing it in the balanced mode, where I think it's like 40 FPS or something, so I can enjoy the better graphics, but let it play. And then I've like the VRR or whatever, and unlocked frame rate, so I think it hops up here and there. But obviously I'm playing on Series X, so it's not as powerful as a PC. But yeah, it's still a gorgeous game playing on that mode. And yeah, first person is my way to go.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit worried about Avowed for me. I'm a big, guys, Obsidian's never let me down, but hearing the writing, I've heard that from multiple people, the writing is not like the top tier Obsidian that we're used to. It's kind of got me nervous because that's what I really love about Obsidian. And again, Hodge, I'm like you, I'm not the big fantasy RPG. I'm more of like the, I like I said, I didn't like Skyrim. I know everyone hates me for that. But I'm not an Elder Scrolls guy, but I'm a Fallout guy, and I love the Outer Worlds. So I'm a little worried that if the writing's not there, and I'm not so into the fantasy aspects of it, that this game's not gonna catch me. But I don't know. I am gonna give it a shot. I got plenty of other stuff I'm playing right now, but I will be giving it a shot. And first person combat for me, like first person melee combat, has always felt weird to me. Using like a sword or like magic, it's always been off to me. So I don't know. I'm going to give it a shot, but hearing the writing has kind of got me a little worried.
Yeah, well,
you can use guns, Sean. There's guns in the game if you want. There's pistols. There's like muskets. Yeah, they're cool.
Yeah, our buddy Locke was, as everyone knows who listens, he was on it, or if you know him, but he was saying like some stuff, you'll pick up a note and it's this beautiful like Shakespearean lore almost written down, and then you talk to some person, he's like, well, gosh darn it, my cat ran away. And it's just like, why, how do we have such like, so it's obvious that the main writers of the game know what they're doing, and then they hired people to like fill in writing, and that's just not good. So it's very hit or miss, but I like the lore of it so far, so I'm excited to learn more about what's going on. But yeah, I'm enjoying it overall. Like I said, especially as someone who's not huge into fantasy RPG. So yeah. Okay. So
Midnight,
that's
why
what
don't
Hodge
you?
has been
Yeah,
playing.
Midnight. Why don't you continue with Avowed?
I was already going to do it.
Yeah.
Already on it. So that's what Hodge has been playing. Let me get into what I've been playing, and I also am playing Avowed. So we'll keep the conversation going. I have been enjoying this game very, very much. I've been having a lot of fun with this game. I'm about 6 to 8 hours in. I'm a level 8. I'm a mage, is what I went with mainly. But I also do. You can have two loadouts. Like you can just press the Y or triangle button, or well, it's not on PlayStation yet. But anyway, you can switch to your loadout, right? So my main loadout is I have a wand. You can just kind of flip little magic at people that doesn't use any mana or essence, they call it. And then I have a grimoire spell book in my left hand, which has 4 different spells in it that you can cast from the grimoire. You have to actually have the grimoire in your hand to be able to cast those spells, or spend a skill point to permanently unlock it. Then you can use it whenever. But yeah, no, it's really good. The graphics, I'm playing on PC. The graphics are insanely great. They are really good, especially the environments. Like it's colorful, the water, the effects, the rocks, the plants. Dude, it looks really good. The character models and their armor and stuff, it looks really good. The combat is really fun, I think. The parkour in this game is great. Like you run and jump from ledge to ledge and climb, and it's really fast and fluid and smooth. The Probably the downside of this game is, one, the interactivity. This is what people have been showing. The game doesn't have a ton of interactivity. Like the guards don't really care if you're grabbing items. There are like just random fill-in items in the world that aren't really, you can't, like, you attack them and nothing happens. Like I saw a boar walking around the field and I attacked it and like nothing happened. So he's just like window dressing. It's like not really a real boar. So you could tell that there were budget and time constraints that they put into this. They are working on 3 games at once. Obsidian is. So I give them a pass on that. But people comparing it to Skyrim, I think it's stupid, because Obsidian literally came out a year and a half ago and they said, we decided we're not trying to make a Skyrim game. They were like, we're going to stick to what we do, which is small scale RPGs. I think it's kind of disingenuous and dumb to compare it to Elder Scrolls games when they literally said we're not doing that. But in any case, the other weakness, slightly, I would say, is the writing, Sean. But I am still enjoying the story quite a bit. The side quests have been surprisingly good. Like I've enjoyed each side quest has like a little story to it. Some of them are just like random fetch quests. Some of them are like a bounty, like you just go kill someone and then turn in and get gold. Right? There's really little to no story there. But there are actual like side quests that I've done where you delve into like this deep cave and then you rescue someone and then you fight a boss and then you get a cool weapon and then you have a choice at the end whether to spare or save some or kill someone, and this and that. And those maybe will have implications later. I'm not sure. We'll find out. But it's cool. And Hodge, you are doing sword, right? So one thing that no spoilers, one thing I'm going to recommend to you is you need to do that side quest where you go try to save the expedition team. You should get that soon if you don't already have it in the city. Because when you finish that quest, you will get an awesome sword. And it's a good quest. So I would prioritize that soon if you want a cool sword. It's a really, really awesome sword.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, it's really good. As far as the main story, the main story, which this is not really a spoiler. They kind of have advertised this, is there's like a dream scourge going on. So you're sent to this area, the Living Lands, which is like an island full of rogues and like people who don't like the government. They don't like the empire. They don't like you because they want to live free and the empire is coming in. They don't want laws. So basically you're set to find out what's going on with the dream scourge and try to stop it. So it's kind of like a obtuse, like kind of high arching plot that really hasn't paid off yet. We don't know what's going on yet. So I would say the story's not hitting as much as it has in previous games yet, but it might get better as you get deeper into like what's actually happening with the dream scourge. But like the side quest writing, I think has been quite good. And the main quest has been okay. It's been fine. But I'm having a lot of fun though, because the world, the combat and everything, like it's cool. I think you'll probably enjoy it. You don't like first person combat. They do have guns. They have musket. I just got a pistol that like has lightning, so it's like a lightning pistol too. So you shock and shoot them, which is pretty cool. And a lot of people like the spears. Spears for the melee are really good because you have long range, so you can just kind of stab at people, which is nice. That feels more fluid than just like, you know what I mean? It feels more impactful, I think. So you might enjoy spears and guns and stuff, Sean.
The other thing
that's Avowed.
I'm honestly, like I said, I'm not I don't like first person melee either, but there is in the options, there's an option to turn on where once you attack with a melee, you lunge at the enemy. So it's not like you're awkwardly missing. It'll auto kind of lunge at the enemy for you, which is nice. So I turned that on because like I agree. I don't like first person melee, just feels weird to me. So I'm the same way about that. But really quickly before anyone else hops in or whatever, I agree with the stealing thing because I just walked into someone's house and started picking shit up and no one cares. And after just playing Indiana Jones, where if you go into like a Nazi camp or whatever, they even like you're disguised or whatever, they will attack you if you take something. And so and it'll say like on the screen steal instead of like take. And so I was expecting that when I walked into someone's house, but nope, I just robbed them blind and walked out.
Hearing that is so odd for an Obsidian game because if you play the Outer Worlds or you play Fallout New Vegas, you go anywhere and you take something that you're not supposed to take, everyone starts basically attacking you, trying to kill you. So it's like that is very odd to hear.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, it's obvious that there were some budget and time constraints in this game. Implementing a whole crime and punishment system is this is an Unreal Engine too, so it's not in like the creation engine like New Vegas was and stuff. I don't know what Outer Worlds is, but yeah, it doesn't have that. But not every game has that. There are a lot of RPGs where you just walk into someone's house and steal shit and nobody says anything. In fact, in The Witcher 3, it does have a crime and punishment system, but for a lot of the games, you can just walk in anybody's house and take anything, even when they're right there, and they won't say or do shit. So in the big cities though, where there's guards, they will harass you a bit, but like in a lot of The Witcher 3, it's also like, it's whatever. I don't care. I'm enjoying the combat, the graphics, the world, and the story has been, decent enough.
In Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, I haven't actually experienced this, but I read someone else talking about it, and it says like you can go in, like most games that you can steal stuff, even if they do catch you, like as long as they're not looking, they won't know. But in Kingdom Come, they said that actually you can steal stuff, and if people don't see it, you're fine for now. But later, if they notice that it's missing or that you have it, or they suspect that you have it, they can actually raise suspicion, and you have to like deal with that at that point. I thought that was really interesting, though, that like the characters could know that something you have used to be theirs.
Yeah. Well, that's I remember our buddy GJ was saying that like he stole a shirt or something from a house, and then he came back to the house wearing it. They're like, "Hey, that's mine." Like they noticed. Yeah. Like I'm like, that's actually really cool that they have that much cool, like knowledge about it.
Yeah, Kingdom Come is a very deep, like simulation, like immersive sim type game. Yeah, they will literally, if you're wearing their stuff, they'll be like, "That's my stuff, you thief!" like, yeah, like they really build it around that.
I put my name in my underwear.
Yeah. Let me see the band there. It said exactly. Steve. All right, so that's Avowed. Anyone have any other thoughts here before I move on?
No.
I recommend it. I think it's pretty good, especially if you have Game Pass. You can try it out for free, essentially. That's what I'm doing. I'm a fraud. I said I was going to buy this game. I didn't buy it. I'm playing it on Game Pass. I started investing my money, so I want to save money where I can and put it in the market instead. But yeah, shout out to Avowed. It's good. Next, real quick, I'll get into a game that I forgot. I actually beat this game like 3-4 weeks ago, but I never mentioned that I beat it on the show. So Disco Elysium, I'll keep this short. I know Hodge is not a fan of this game, but I beat the game. It's pretty decent. I would give it like a 7.5 out of 10. It's very unique because it is very just narrative based. There's just a ton of text. It's like a book. But overall, I thought the story was pretty good. I thought a lot of the characters were pretty cool. I enjoyed the ending. I got, I would say the good ending, I would say. And yeah, I definitely enjoyed it. I'll keep it at that. I'm not going to talk about it too much. But yeah, that Disco Elysium was beaten. And I did enjoy it. And if you are a fan of like super narrative based games, like there's not a lot of gameplay at all. And you don't mind that the writer apparently is a communist, there you go. And I only spent $4 on the game. So anyone have any thoughts on this before I move on? No? Okay. Moving on to the bigger one here. Ys 8 East 8, whatever it's called, Lacrimosa of Dana, I think.
Yep.
I beat this game. I beat this game, and it was perfectly okay. It was perfectly all right. I don't think this game was amazing. This was one of, part of my Weeb experience here, one of the JRPGs I'm trying to play this year to see what I've been missing. And this one was no Octopath Traveler 2. Octopath Traveler 2 was like almost masterpiece level. This one was very mid. It wasn't bad in any way. It was perfectly serviceable in every way. Like the story was serviceable. The combat was actually pretty good. The combat was one of the high points, I would say. But like the story was just okay. The graphics are just okay. The map is horrible. Like I was constantly getting lost trying to figure out like which exit I'm supposed to take to get places. The ending, I got the normal ending, Sean, and the normal ending is so bad. Like literally, I felt so unfulfilled and so unrewarded from this ending. Like without spoiling much, anything, the normal ending is literally just like, most of the people live and you sail off. Like they didn't do an epilogue really at all where it says like, so and so went off to do this afterwards. I like when games do that. When like this character went on to do this, and I like that closure.
Well, the East games don't do that, so.
Well, they do on the true ending. Yeah, on the true ending, they do have a short one of those.
Well, that's why you're supposed to get the true ending.
Yeah, well, I didn't, and it was. I watched the true ending on YouTube because I was like, "This is so unrewarding." Like, I've got to see the good ending, and the good ending was quite a bit better, but it was still just kind of eh. So I would probably give this game about like a 7 out of 10. I don't know. It was not bad, but it also wasn't awesome. It doesn't make me super excited to play more East games, but I think I still will play East 10 because that's the new one, and I've heard better things about that one. And Sean, you liked it, right?
Yeah, I like East 10. I don't know. So if you wanted to go into your Weebery, I don't know why you choose a series like East, because like East is not like this like, oh my gosh, this is an amazing JRPG Weeb game here. I mean, I like East, but I don't think it's like, God's gift to Earth. I think I could probably name 10 other series that I'd play over East. I do like the games, but maybe you just picked the wrong one.
Maybe I'm just trying a little bit of everything.
Should have played Trails.
Well, it was on
better Falcom series.
Yeah, well, it was on. I actually don't own it. It was on PlayStation Plus Premium, is where I played it. So shout out to PS Plus.
Should have played Trails. Just like 1,000 hours of gameplay there, no problem.
Yeah,
Trails is. Listen, I'm gonna get into that in a little bit.
Yeah, you should have played Trails. There's 12 games. They're like 100 hours each. What's your problem, dude?
It's not 100 hours each. They're like 50, depending.
Okay, all right. Well, as we have discussed, Sean, I'm going to be playing Tits first chapter, Trails in the Sky remake. I'm looking forward to that. So that will be my entry point into Trails. So East 8 was a perfectly okay game. I wasn't mad at it, but it didn't wow me. Avowed, I'm enjoying way more. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Random aside. Any thoughts, anyone on East here before we move on? All right. Sean, last but not least, what have you been playing, sir?
All right, I'm just going to get right into this. I'm going to update us with my Sleeping Dogs playthrough. It is complete. I played it, so I have fulfilled my gift from midnight, my Secret Santa gift. I really enjoyed it. Like I said last week, was only a couple hours in, but now that I'm done with the game, this game is freaking awesome. I think that it is right there with like GTA 4 for me. I like GTA 5 better than 4 and Sleeping Dogs, but I think it's right there with GTA 4. I think the stories, I think it's better than GTA 4's. I also think when I'm in Sleeping Dogs, I'm not as tempted to just run around and have fun as like I am in GTA, where I'm just gonna go off and just I'm gonna go steal these cars and drive through here and get a 5-star rating here and run away from the cops. Whereas in Sleeping Dogs, I'm more likely to like, all right, what do I want to do with the main story, or what do I want to do some side missions? The combat is phenomenal. This is the best combat I've played in like a sandbox like type of game, like a GTA like game. It is insane. Like I've seen so many different animations and so many different ways to take down enemies. It's really, really amazing. As far as the mission wise, I thought almost all of the main missions are really compelling and really like you're interested. You really want to know what's going to happen next, and there's some twists and turns. Shout out to the wedding mission. That wedding mission is insane, and that's where the game kind of really starts taking off. Also, the funeral mission, that's like later on in the game. You get a grenade launcher. That's pretty awesome. That was pretty cool. Overall, the game was really fun. I'm really glad I played it. I'm really sad they're not going to make a sequel to this because it's really disappointing because it is so awesome. But I didn't realize this until probably like earlier this week that it was part of a series called
True Crime.
True Crime. So I actually ordered the True Crime New York game for PS2, and I am going to try to play that. So I'm going to bust out the old PS2 and play that. But overall, really cool. I love the Hong Kong setting. Love the, like I said, the undercover cop slash, gangster vibes here getting caught up in that life. Really fun game.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you love this game. I knew you would. That's why I gave it to you as the gift. I knew you would like it, dude. This game is so slept on. Although lately it's been, I know Maddie and some other people have been talking about this game. I've seen a lot more people talking about Sleeping Dogs. It's having like a renaissance, if you will. Yeah,
Probably because of the movie talk.
Probably, yeah. Which I'm excited about. I really love this game. The combat is so fun. The world is so unique and immersive. I felt like the voice acting is top tier. Like all the characters are great. Like Jackie Ma and Wei Shen and everybody was just awesome, dude.
And there's like a DDR minigame in it. In one of the missions when you go to the nightclub.
There you go. I need to replay this at some point because I played it way back in like 2012 or something. So I don't even remember like everything that happened. I just know I absolutely adored this game, and it sucks. Yeah, this was from United Front Games, I think was the studio. This game came out and it was well received.
Published, Square Enix published.
Yeah. So this game was really well liked by people, and we thought we would get a sequel, but instead they tried to make like some open world, like MMO light type crap, and then they ended up just shuttering it, and I was really sad. As far as True Crime, this is not really True Crime. It's not really the same universe, so I don't expect like tie-ins or anything. But this game, Sleeping Dogs, was originally supposed to be a True Crime game, and they spun it off into its own thing. So. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the True Crime games are okay. I played True Crime Streets of LA back in the day, and I enjoyed that game quite a bit, but it's probably aged considerably, but that's okay. All right, so that was Sleeping Dogs. Anyone have thoughts on that before he moves on?
Yeah, just quickly, when you told me that it was only about a 15-hour completion, I looked into it, and I did have it from Xbox Gold, so I do have it, and I downloaded it. So once I'm done with Avowed, I'm going to play this game because it's one of those things of it was a turnoff just because usually that style of game is like a 60-hour kind of game. And I was like, I don't really feel like doing that. But when you told me it's only 15 hours, I'm like, actually, I do want it, especially hearing how Sean loves it and obviously how you recommended it to him. I was like, fuck it. I'm going to give this one a try. But yeah, I just want to beat Avowed first. But I think this is going to be the next game I play. So I'm excited to jump in and play it.
And for everyone who says I hate Xbox, I played it on Xbox, guys. I played it on Xbox.
There you go, guys. Not an Xbox hater. Ben, did you ever play Sleeping Dogs?
I played the first one. I don't remember if I played the second one or not.
There's only one, I think.
Well, I played it.
The definitive edition.
I thought there was a Sleeping Dogs too.
It's just the definitive edition. No, they never made a sequel.
Well, I played Sleeping Dogs then, back in the day. Long time ago.
Did you like it?
That was like before I was married, I think. So when did it come out?
Well,
2012-ish.
Okay, that's the year I got married, so that makes sense. I remember liking it, but I don't remember much about the game, honestly. I just know that I played it. It's on my... I know I have... Occasionally when I like scroll back through my Xbox achievements and everything, I see the gamer score there has at least started. So I know I played it, but yeah, if you ask me to name anything about the game, it'd be a tough stretch for me.
Okay. Sean, real quick, I just have a question, and then you can proceed. I remember I mentioned how like later on in the game when you get more comfortable with the combat, like you start busting out combos and it's really fluid and fun. Was that also your experience?
Yeah, I had mentioned that how like I've seen there's so many animations in the game for combat. It makes GTA's combat look like child's play.
Yeah. All right. Take it away. What else is going on?
Next up, I jumped into those new Astro Bot levels, the 2 new levels that they released. TikTok, it's called TikTok Shock and Thrust or Bust, and they're not speedrun levels. I mean, they give you a time at the end of the level. They're not like extremely difficult. There's no checkpoints in them, so if you die, you have to start all the way over. But they're not long, and there's only one bot in each one. I'm not going to spoil what the Astro Bots are that you can rescue. There's only one bot, and you get it for finishing it. Overall, pretty fun. They just TikTok Shock utilizes the slowdown mechanic. Hodge. Remember that? Where you put like essentially you put like the VR thing on your head and it kind of slows down. And then the other one is like the rocket jetpack that you not the one that you don't go up, but you go like diagonal, like almost like in a vertical line. Pretty fun levels overall. Astro Bot's great. I'm gonna keep it on. I'm gonna play the next one when it comes out. I think they're releasing one like every week. So, yeah. So that was Astro Bot. Highly suggest it.
Yeah, right. I haven't hopped into those because I don't really care about like those speedrun type levels. I know that's not like technically what it is, but I don't care about those like race ones. I love
because you're bad.
What?
That's why.
Because you're bad. Well, yeah, of course. But no, I love the platforming part of like the Christmas level that they had. I loved that so much because it was just an adventure, little like playroom. You go around, you rescue everything, and you utilize all the powers and stuff again. And I loved that. But yeah, the ones where it's because like it's not, I guess, that I don't like those levels. It's the fact that when I don't play the game for months on end and then they release it, I have to remember how to play it, and I'm just not good anymore because I just haven't played it in forever. So I get in there and I my timing's off or something, and it's just I keep dying, and it's like I have to get good at this game again. Like when I was playing it, and then you do those levels, like the speedrun levels in each universe or whatever, I had been playing, so I was able to complete them all because I have the powers down. But yeah, when I haven't played it for 2 months and they're like, hey, here's 2 levels where it's all skill based, I'm like, I'm not gonna be able to beat it.
You just reminded me, actually, when we talked about Hodge being bad, he mentioned on Avowed that he's playing on journalism mode. I am not. I'm playing on the default or normal difficulty. I think there's 5 difficulties. I don't know. I'm playing in the middle one. This game's actually, Avowed is actually pretty difficult. I've died a couple times. There's been some really tough fights when you're fighting bosses and a whole bunch of mobs where like I'm burning through potions, like really struggling to stay alive, but then you finally beat it and you're like, woo. Right. But yeah, actually Avowed has some difficulty to it. I'll just say that real quick. But anyway.
I'm assuming they don't call it journalism mode.
No, it's story mode is what it's called. Where it's
imagine
like,
the game came out and it said journalism mode. That's our most released journalism mode. That'd be awesome.
There have been games that did that.
Oh, really?
Well, remember when
a journalist would dock them?
I remember when the journalist bitched because Dooms was like the easy mode was called like baby mode or whatever, and like, it's not fair. You call people who want to play easy babies. Like,
I could have sworn there was a game. It's probably been 5+ years ago now. That was. It was called like the difficulty was called journalist mode, but I don't remember what it was, or if that just was a joke and I adapted it into reality somehow. But yeah,
I'm not sure. But yeah, I joke because I play every game on journalism mode now because I just don't have that much time for gaming anymore, and I'd rather.
I'm all about it, man.
Yeah, I'm not trying to struggle through games anymore. I just want to enjoy the experience and move on. So I play everything on easy now. I don't care.
All right. I apologize. I sidetracked us. Sean, what else were you playing here? You got another game I'm excited to hear about?
Yep. Last game on my list is one of those Trails games, Trails through Daybreak 2. This came out about 8 days ago. I've put about 17 hours into it. Oh my gosh, this game is freaking amazing. I absolutely am loving this game. It's my Trails series, so I'm gonna be a little biased towards it, but it is really great so far. It's a continuation of Trails through Daybreak 1. It picks up a couple months after the events of the first game, and you have the same cast of characters. We have our Van Arkride, who is a Spriggan, so he goes around doing like simple little tasks that people don't want to go to the police for, or the Bracer Guild in their universe. And you can make choices in the game too, like you take this little task on, and then you get to the end of it, and you're like, okay, well, what should we do? Should we turn them over to the police, or should we handle it ourselves? Stuff like that. But overall, the game is so far so good. I'm through. So it starts out with a prelude, and then your cat really likes Trails as well.
Dude, he loves Trails. He's thrilled.
Yeah. It starts you out in the prelude, but I'm through 2 acts now, and what's really cool is they introduced I'm not going to say who the characters are, but they introduced 2 characters from a previous Trails arc that I was not expecting to show up in this game, and they are playable, and the acts are broken down. There's like they have a selection. So say you're in Act 1, it'll be like Act 1A, Act 1B, and you can choose which one you want to do in any order. They take place simultaneously, but one's with one group of characters and one's with the other group of characters, which is really cool. That they did that in Trails of Reverie, which was like the game 2 games ago. So it was really cool. It was really surprising. There is a huge shock that I audibly gasped right during the prelude. I was like, no way they're doing this. Absolutely no way they're doing this. And they did it. And I was like, no, I couldn't believe it. Dialogue's awesome. I talk to every single NPC when I play these games. Like I go around to every single one because one thing that I really like about Trails is every single character is named. It's not like stage crew worker or store shop assistant. They all have unique names and they all have like unique dialogue for each day. Game takes it starts out actually. It released on February 14th, Valentine's Day, and actually the game starts out on that date, which is kind of funny. Just unironic, ironic kind of. But yeah, overall, I'm really enjoying where the story's going. You're back in the Calvard Republic, which is this is the first time we've ever experienced the Calvard Republic. Was in Trails Through Daybreak 1, so we're seeing like the whole other aspect of Zamiria, which is like the giant world they're in. Overall, I'm really liking it. They're introducing characters from the previous games. That's why last year when Trails Through Daybreak 1 came out, and people were like, you can jump right into this game if you never played a Trails game. Like, there's no way you can. They make references back to the older games still. And yeah, it's great. I can't wait to get more of it done. Like I said, I'm about 17 hours in. I'm going to be playing it again on Nightmare mode after this, so I can go get that platinum run. There are side quests that are exclusively locked to like your New Game Plus Nightmare mode playthrough. So I'm excited for that. The combat is awesome too. The combat in the first one was really good, but they made subtle upgrades now, just like quality of life things that just make it a little bit easier. Like you have a quick access menu to heal yourself, so when you're out of combat, if you like don't want to have to go into the pause menu and select like your heal spell to heal your party, there's like a quick action. You can kind of like map it to a button. You can just do it like that. So writing is great, side quests are great, and they you can go to like movie theaters in the game, like when you're off time to like watch a movie. It's like in the Trails universe movies, because some of the characters are like actors. Well, one of the characters in your party is an actor, and you can watch some of her movies, and it's just really funny to like actually sit there. You watch like a 6-minute clip of it, and then like they talk about it afterwards, and like some of the characters are like, you can tell like your main character Van, he's really into film, and he's like, he gets down to like the minute. It's like talking to someone who's like super into it. Like they go to film festivals and they're like, they know all the ins and outs of the industry. And then like some of your other party members are like, oh, I love the action scene where they went boom, boom, pow. Not like that.
So like Lockmort is
yes.
Van.
Yes. So it's overall, it's great. I'm loving it. And I'm constantly thinking about it.
Nice.
All right.
Game number 12 in the series. I love it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, when Trails in the Sky first chapter comes out, I will play it, and who knows, maybe I'll turn into Sean. And
I don't know. I have a feeling you're not gonna like. I have a feeling you're not gonna like it.
Why? Why do you say that?
I don't think you're gonna. It's very It's very weebish. Like very, very anime weeb. Like yeah, it's.
I like Persona. I like Fire Emblem.
It's more than. It's way
Persona
more than Fire
is mainstream weeb though.
Yeah, this is like deep weebery. Like Yeah, I don't think you're gonna like this.
Well, I did go through a brief period from like 2012 to like 2015 or something where I watched a ton of anime. So I was a weeb back then. So I don't know. Maybe I'll enjoy it. We'll see. I'm gonna give it a fair chance. I'm gonna try.
I hope you like. The good thing about I don't know. Sky has some pretty cringe not cringe, but cringe for non-weebs moments that you'd be like, oh, that's really cringe. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is awesome.
Well, I'm going to go into it with an open mind and actually with an intention to want to like it. I'm going to try my best to like it. So we'll see.
You better talk to every single NPC. You better talk to every single NPC.
That probably won't happen. I don't know.
Oh my gosh, you're going to miss out on all the lore, and you're going to read all the documents.
Why would I talk to some random person sitting in front of a store? Who cares?
Like you can at the beginning of each like chapter or act, you get like it's like a newspaper issue called the Tyrell Times. And like they're like 15 to 20 pages. I'm sitting there reading them all. Takes me like I'm sitting there going through it, reading through them all. Oh, and also the Calvin Republic is like more advanced technology wise. So they just released what they call the T phone. It's like a rip off of the iPhone. It's so funny. It's hilarious. It's great.
Is the Trails series your favorite game series of all time?
No, it's my third favorite.
Third? Wow.
Okay. Yeah, Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts.
Wow. Okay. So Trails is worse than Weeb Trash?
No, they're not worse. No, they're not worse. Okay. They're all pretty amazing. I think it's like Trails is better than anything you play.
There's no chance. All right. Well, all right. Are you satisfied with Trails for Daybreak, sir?
I am. Well, I'm not satisfied with the game. I mean, I'm overly satisfied with the game.
I'm glad you're enjoying it. All right, guys. So that has been what we are playing. Let's go ahead and get into the main topic of discussion. An hour and 10 minutes in. Let's go. This is going to be a good one. So we are going to get into our 5 favorite games, if you will, semi-ranked. Doesn't really matter. That were 70 or less. Well, less than 70, so 69 or less on Metacritic and OpenCritic. And we're going to go Midnight, Hodge, Ben, and Sean is the order. So I'll go ahead and start us off here. My number 5 games. I didn't really put these in a super order, but whatever. I'll try to.
So I ordered mine in like score like highest to lowest. So I'm gonna start out with my highest score and go to all the way to my lowest.
Yeah, I'm doing the same.
I didn't really do that, but I'll just
didn't do that either.
I'll try to rank them kind of like the last one will probably be the one I like the most, but I'll try to do like that. So I'm going to go ahead and get it started with a game that I actually have talked about on this show quite a few times. The other ones I haven't really talked about hardly at all. And this is going to be MLB 2K12.
Oh.
This game, I think, has a 66 or something on Metacritic. It wasn't very well liked. I love these games. I already talked about the true motion pitching that they did with the analog stick is so amazing. I really felt like I was throwing a pitch because the motion like kind of makes sense to like what the ball does in the air. And I don't know. And it was just awesome. And it was a great baseball sim, in my opinion. It was funny. MLB 2K13 was the last one. It had David Price on the cover. Yeah, I'm sure you remember him, Sean, from the Rays.
Well, he was on. He played on the Tigers and the Blue Jays and the Red Sox and the Dodgers as well. So it's
wow, he got around, huh? I remember he was like a big prospect when at the time, like he was like a superstar prospect that was going to do big things. Did he do big things? I don't know.
Yeah, are you kidding? He won a Cy Young, won a World Series.
Baseball, Sean.
Insanely critical to the Red Sox World Series run in 2018. So.
Awesome. Don't watch baseball.
Idiot.
But yeah, freaking loser, Midnight. MLB 2K13 had like a 44 or something. It was a horrible score, and I don't remember it being that bad. But anyway, MLB 2K12, I enjoyed it. I'm going to keep it at that. I'm going to keep it short because I have talked about this many times, but great game.
Well,
deserved more than a 68.
Well, really quickly, why do you think it got that low of a rating?
I don't know. I didn't read the reviews. Probably because MLB The Show was better. I'm assuming. MLB The Show was out, and MLB The Show has been the superior baseball sim. But the pitching, which is what I enjoyed, I did my player as a pitcher, was way superior to MLB The Show, and is still better than MLB The Show today. Pitching.
I have a question, Midnight, real quick, without looking anything up. Who's the cover athlete? 2K12
of 2K12. I have no clue. I don't remember.
Justin Verlander. Come on.
Hey, I know Justin Verlander from the Detroit Tigers.
Yep,
he was. I know him. I remember I did fantasy baseball, and I had 1 year I had Verlander and I had Greinke, and this was Greinke's like breakout Cy Young year. Dude, I won that league. I won that league. Dude, I don't 2008-9, I think. I want to say
2009 Greinke won the Cy Young with the Royals.
I cannot.
Sean is on my neck about these baseballs.
Don't get me into the sports stuff. Come on, you know me.
I could never do fantasy baseball. I did fantasy hockey once, and you have to start your lineup every single day.
Yeah,
every day. I'm like,
fantasy hockey's rough.
Yeah,
I've been in a fantasy baseball dynasty league since I was a freshman in high school, and we had this. It's I love it.
What was so awesome about fantasy baseball is that there's so many stats, and it really made watching the games fun. I loved watching my pitchers, and like every time they got a strikeout, your numbers went up. If they had a complete game or a complete game shutout, those were their own stats that are super rare, and you're like, oh, I won that. That's a point for me, baby. Oh, It was fun, dude. But yeah, that's my MLB 2K12 is mine. Any thoughts on this? Otherwise, Hodge, you're up.
Nope. All right.
Take it away.
My number 5. Yeah, I'm doing it the way Sean. I had it ranked, but I actually like Sean's idea better, so I'm doing that. So my number 5 is my highest rated crappy game. It has a 68 on both OpenCritic and Metacritic, and that is a game actually Ben I know has played because you did a review of it on your short-lived YouTube channel, and that is Ravenlock. I actually really enjoyed this. It's not a perfect game, so some of these games are ones that I actually do love, but this is probably the one on the list where it's like it wasn't like a game I was obsessed with, but I enjoyed my time with it. I got every single achievement or trophy. I don't remember which system I played it on, but it's just it's one of those where, as an art nerd like I am, as you guys know, I love games that have very stylistic looks to them, and it's this really cool like cubic but 3D pixelated graphics. It's obviously like a kid's game. It's not like high art of of game. It's obviously meant for a younger audience, but it's a very cool like Alice in Wonderland type game, and it had a very awesome setting and it just, that's what's kind of carried it for me. The gameplay was fine, it was good, it was serviceable, but the world and the look of the game really sold it for me. I remember when it was unveiled, I think it might have been an Xbox showcase, and I was obsessed with it up until it released, and I beat it because it was a Game Pass game, so I beat it within the first week. It's a 5-hour game or something. It's a really, really short game, but I loved it. I really liked it. It was a very fun game, and I recommend it to people, but it's not going to be, a Liza P game that blows you away. Like you think it, like it's not an unknown game that it's like everyone's missing out. I just really enjoyed it, and I think it deserves better than a 68, but I guess I can see, I think it should have been in the 70s, not a 68, but yeah.
So that's Hodge, thanks for reminding me about that game, because I did really enjoy it, if I recall. I'm sure I had some gripes with it, but
yeah,
if you had given me an hour to name, like without looking at anything, to name every game I've played in the last 3 years to completion, or how about this? If you would ask me to name every video I made in that like year that I did reviews and stuff on that channel, I would not have named it. Yeah. So maybe it does deserve less than a 70, but I did enjoy it now that you mentioned it. Absolutely.
Yeah, I really liked this game.
This is a game I considered, Hodge, for mine. I really liked Ravenlock as well. I love the art of this game. It reminded me of Alice in Alice in Wonderland, and I'm a big Alice in Wonderland fan. Like, that was one of my go-to movies as a kid. So
they reminded you of it because it straight up ripped it off.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was like, this is Bob in Wonderland, not Alice. Like, it was that on the nose, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's okay.
I remember Hodge was upset with me because I had Ravenlock as like my least liked game when I did my 2023 games that I beat. It was the last one, but it was still good. I still enjoyed it.
Oh yeah, I do remember. Yeah, because the video starts and you're like, number 23, Ravenlock. I'm like, damn you.
Yeah, it's just the other games were better, but it was good though. And I don't know, I was looking up scores, so I was kind of zoning out. I don't know if you mentioned this, but the developers gave you a shout out, Ben. Did you mention that? They put you in their trailer, right?
I don't remember that.
Yeah, the developers put together like a critic score trailer,
like a social media thing.
Yeah, Ben is Handsome was there with your review.
Cool. Yeah. See, the developers shouted out my video, and I still don't remember it barely.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Ben, you are up next.
All right, my first one, and I didn't really put these in any particular order, but let's say this is my least favorite bad game that I picked out of these 5. Mad Max, 2015's Mad Max. I think it was Avalanche that put it out. If you know Mad Max, the franchise at all, you kind of understand what this game is all about. You're very much in an apocalyptic world, post-apocalyptic world, and most of the game is based on vehicular combat. And the thing I thought was the coolest part about this game was just the fact that you could like scrap other vehicles and destroy them and stuff, and then use those upgrades for your own vehicle. The Magnum Opus.
Magnum Opus?
Yeah, the Magnum Opus. And there's so little remarkable about this game that it's hard to really recall like any other specific points other than the exploration and the fact that it's like kind of open world and stuff. But it was still just like a good, fun, clean game. Like it was great. And I actually do think, I don't even know what it scored, but I looked it up. Yes. 68.
Yeah.
I think that's perfectly fine. Generally if a game's like below a 7, I have to really want to play it. And I don't really pay that much attention to review scores as it is most of the time. But I think this is like perfectly placed around the 7 because it's nothing special. It's not great. It didn't wow anybody. It didn't change the game. It didn't come up with a new system, whatever. It's based on an existing IP. It's a tie-in game, but it wasn't bad. Everything about it was perfectly fine. There's a little gripes here and there, but hey, what games aren't there little gripes in? And for me, it just, it filled a spot where I needed the game to play, and here you go. I think this was right around the time my second son was born. So I was probably like holding him at night and playing it, if I remember correctly. So it was just like, hey, junk food for the brain while I need something to play. And that filled that spot perfectly.
I considered Mad Max as well for this. This came out right when I was about to start my sophomore year of college. So it was like September of 2015.
I'm out here having kids and you're partying in college.
It came out like the same day. I'm pretty sure the same day as Metal Gear 5 or around the same time. Yeah, and I remember I picked this up. I'm not, you guys all know, I'm not the film guy here, but I do like the Mad Max series. I really enjoy. So I was really looking forward to this game. But Ben, I think you said it perfectly. This is like a junk food game. It's like, I don't really have to pay attention to much. I'm just going to run around, explore, maybe get in some combat, vehicle combat. And yeah, I remember my dad calling me and he'd be like, so you playing Metal Gear Solid 5? I'm like, nah, I'm playing Mad Max. He goes, freaking loser, and just hung up the phone.
Yeah. He was right. I didn't play Metal Gear Solid 5 either, so
I haven't played it either.
I do remember. I felt like this game was one of those. I think the biggest complaint I remember from it was that obviously it's a desert, so I don't know what people expected, but they said like the open world is very bare bones. If I remember right, is you're basically just driving from point to point, and the world part just was not that great. But I also remember. Yeah, I also remember it I kind of got the vibe that it was rated a little lower than what people kind of expected because it did come out around better open world games. And so I think I kind of remember that part of people being like, no, it's just not as good as this game that also came out this year. And it might have even been Metal Gear Solid 5. I'm not sure. But I just kind of remember it was more of the critics were of it's just not as good as other recent games in the same genre kind of thing, rather than it being about the game itself. But I mean, yeah, if you guys are saying, a 7 out of 10 makes sense, then that, I think I have it because of PlayStation Plus, but I've never played it.
Okay. Good stuff. Sean Mason, you're up.
All right, next up, here we go for me. Star Ocean: The Divine Force. I was shocked to find out this game has a 69 on Metacritic, so just kind of gets into our criteria here. I was shocked because I really enjoyed this game, and from Star Ocean fans, like rave about this game. They think this is like one of their, not like the best ones in the series, but like in that mid tier of the series. And some of the games in the series are really good. I like this whole aspect of you have two different stories going on with Ray and Letitia. You can choose who you want to be at the beginning of the game, and depending on who you pick, at certain points the party will split up, and whoever you picked at the beginning, that's who you roll with. This is very different. Like you're on like a planet, and obviously Star Ocean. There's going to be like, stuff to involve with space and everything. But I found this game to be really fun. The combat was fun. The story wasn't too memorable. I do remember some aspects of it. Don't remember everything about it. But I found the characters to be really intriguing. Like you have Ray and Letitia, and you have Albert, who is like this like knight who's supposed to be protecting Letitia, and he was a really cool character, really cool backstory. Very vast different environments. Like this one area you're in like this huge desert, almost kind of like Mad Max, where it's kind of like, this big open wasteland almost, and then you have another one where you're in like a tropical forest. So I really enjoyed my time with Star Ocean Divine Force. I couldn't believe when I saw it was. I thought it was like a clear like 75 or maybe like a 76. But yeah, it was a 69. I was a little shocked. But yeah, Star Ocean the Divine Force.
Nice. Yeah, I've never played a Star Ocean game. This is just one of those that I've heard of, and I've never had any desire to go play them. So.
I mean, if you're gonna play one, I wouldn't play this one. I'd play one of the 2D ones.
Sean, should I play a Star Ocean game? You gave me a hard time for playing East. Should I play Star Ocean?
I would have suggested playing Star Ocean before East. Like the one that came out in 2023 that I played, the remake of the second one. I can't remember the exact title of the remake. Second Story R, I think was called. Second Story R.
What is with JRPGs and their names?
Yeah, I would highly suggest that one. Really cool art style, gives off Octopath vibes with the art style, and there's a lot of different cast members, and the story's much better. So yeah, play that one.
Where does that fit though, like in the timeline? Because I was going to play the first one
Doesn't matter.
chronologically.
They don't. It doesn't matter.
They're not connected?
They all take place in the same universe, with different characters.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, because in my backlog here, I'm pulling it up now. I have The Last Hope is the first one that I was going to play.
It honestly does not matter which one you play first.
Is The Last Hope good, or should I avoid that one?
It's good, but I don't think it's. I think you should start with the second story R, because I think that's the best one you can play.
All right. I think I already own The Last Hope, though. We'll see. We'll see. All right. Anyone else have thoughts on Star Ocean before we move on?
Nope.
All right. I'm up next with my number 4 here, I guess. So we're going what? Highest score to lowest is what we're going with here?
That's what I'm doing.
You can do whatever you want.
All right, fine.
Yeah.
I'll do that. That's fine. All right. So this one I kind of mentioned earlier, but it's actually Golf with Your Friends. Golf with Your Friends is a 68 on the Metacritics. And I played this a lot on Steam with friends. And it was a lot of fun. It's mini golf, putt, whatever, just all these different holes and courses. And I think you could create your own too, if I remember correctly. And it was just a good time, a nice party experience, get competitive, see who can win and have the best scores. I had a lot of fun. I put in many hours of that on Steam. And I would be interested in playing stuff like that again in the future. So maybe one day I will get on the VR train and, stuff like that. But Golf with Your Friends, short and sweet. What more can you say about mini golf? That was my pick there. That one was a 69. I thought it was a 68.
I couldn't. I don't remember what you said, so I just wrote that down.
I think it was a 68.
You could say.
But anyway, yeah, that's my pick there. Anyone got thoughts on that?
I love that game.
Yeah, like I said before, I loved it too. It's I understand why it has a low rating, because it is a very bare bones, in terms of gameplay. It's very simplistic, and I remember the online, getting your friends into the game is very it's very not easy. It's complicated for no reason, and I remember that part of it. But the game itself, it's very fun. But yeah, it's very bare bones, so it makes sense that it's kind of a 60 whatever.
I'd be willing to bet that game has made a monumental amount of money, though.
Oh yeah, it was
because it's already so cheap, and then it's got all the DLCs, and how many games are there you can just casually play? If you want to play Call of Duty or you want to play Overwatch or whatever, with your buddies, you have to be kind of into that specific genre, and to have fun, you need to at least be somewhat decent at the game.
Yeah,
but to play golf, it's I'm just gonna hang out.
Yeah,
you're basically in a chat room clicking a button.
Yeah,
to hit a ball. That's
Yeah, obviously the VR one takes a little bit of skill. You just have to know how to putt, but it is still simple. Of you're chatting with your friends, then you go stroke once, and then you're chat with your friends some more. So yeah, it's they're cool for that reason, especially.
All right, Hodge. Number 4.
So mine. This is honestly the biggest surprise that this is on the list. So. It's not the original because they didn't have a rating for it, but it is the 360 arcade just re-release, and it had a 66 on Metacritic, and that's Wolfenstein 3D. I don't understand how this game has this low of a rating. I fucking love it. It's actually, I was surprised. It was on my top 10 of all time list that we did with Locke way back in the day. And so I love this game, and the fact that it has a 66 blew my mind, because it's what Doom came from. It was it laid the ground for Doom later on, and I loved every moment of this game. So the fact that it's that, I didn't expect it to be a 95 or anything, but the fact that it's below a 70 was fascinating to me, because I adore this game. But yeah, Wolfenstein 3D, I can't believe it.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have much to say about that. OG game, played it way back in the day, but don't remember much.
No, I love it.
Not much
Mecha Hitler.
Go around and shoot people. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Ben, you're up.
My next one is a game called Brink. Do you guys remember Brink at all? This game came out around 2000. It was in 2011. I'm actually sure of that. A little backstory to this game. And this is probably part of the reason I actually ended up playing it, because I don't know that I would have otherwise. I was at PAX East in 2011 as media, had a website and podcast and everything, and we got invited to like this private event for a game that Bethesda was putting on. And it was Brink. And it was in like this, this kind of weird part of Boston. I don't even know if that part of Boston is still like kind of sketch anymore, but like there were some warehouses and stuff. They had bought out a whole warehouse, set up a whole bunch of computers, and had a bunch of people come in, a bunch of the press people come in and play the game because there's a multiplayer component to it. That was just a cool experience because it was like this, they blew this thing out. But I remember specifically after the fact, somebody was like, "Hey guys, be careful! Somebody just got stabbed outside," and there were like police everywhere and everything. So that just adds to the memory of it for me. But I don't remember what this has. It has under a 70. I made sure that I didn't write anything down, but I made sure that it had 68. Okay. But Brink is basically so forgettable that if it weren't for the fact that it's attached to that memory of that event in my head, that I probably wouldn't really remember it that well. It's a first-person shooter. It's got single player as well. It's got single player as well as multiplayer. You can highly customize your character, if I remember correctly. Like that was one of the big things about this game, was that you were able to highly customize your character. You're in this floating city that is like, they had to go to this floating city because they basically destroyed Earth, and then they were on the brink of like a civil war on the floating city as well, which is a rough place to be. It's hard to get away from people when you're on a floating city. But yeah, there was like infinite customization with your character. Probably in hindsight now, it would be nothing comparatively. But you could fight as part of the resistance, or I don't know what they called them, not the Empire, but the other side as well. You could kind of dip in and out of online play, which is pretty impressive considering the time period. Not that online play was new, but it still wasn't as advanced as it is now. So you kind of dip in and out and play one mission in multiplayer and then do the next thing solo if you wanted to. They had this ability that was called the smart button, which basically would like evaluate what you needed to do to get to the next spot you wanted to be, and then somehow organize everything in that manner. So the details are all a little bit hazy. I remember those things about it, but if you wanted me to go any more depth, I couldn't. But I just remember Brink being like a fun game that did not score well, and I had fun with it. But I think honestly, the biggest part of it is I just have that memory of like going to that private event where they went all out for us, and then somebody got stabbed outside. So that's why I remember Brink.
Awesome.
Dude, I never played this game, but that I have very clear memories of seeing that box art.
Yeah.
Stuff. I love the box art of that game.
I think this game is free on Steam, technically. I don't know if servers are still up or anything, but like it's free on Steam if you wanted to hop in and just check out the single player for a minute. Like it has some cool mechanics to it, for sure. I don't know that I'd tell you to spend your time playing the entire campaign or anything, but for free for an hour, probably worth it.
Yeah, nice.
Okay, good stuff. Yeah, it is free on Steam, and I see it has recent reviews have it at a mostly positive 76. So
nice.
There you go. All right, Sean, you're up. You are also muted, sir. Come on now.
No, all right, my next up, my game is Crash Twinsanity, an incredibly underrated Crash Bandicoot game. For those of you who don't know, Crash Twinsanity, you play as Crash, but you also spin here. You get to play as Cortex as well, and there's sequences where you play with them together, and it introduces Nina Cortex to the Crash universe. For those of you who have never played this game is incredibly broken. It was in development. It was in development hell, and they had to rush it out because in order to keep the Crash license, they had to release a game like every year. So they had to get it out in 2004. And when it was released, it was immediately like everyone's like, "This game is so broken. You can like go through walls. You can basically skip huge portions of the game and basically beat the game in like an hour and a half." It's very different than other Crash Bandicoot games. It's not like a giant warp room. You're running around Twinsanity Island and you're going to all these different aspects. And they act as like pseudo levels. So there's like you have Papu Papu's little like Native American area. You have like engines like laboratory, which is like in like an iceberg, like an ice location. it is pretty crazy. The game is incredibly broken, but it is so much fun to play, and I think I really I remember getting this game. I was so hyped for it, like super hyped, and coming home and being like, "Wow, this game is not what I expected," but I still had fun with it. It was really cool. This is when they made Cortex kind of like really weird. Like he
Yeah.
started getting like really like not like just an evil scientist, but like doing these
Creepy.
weird, creepy, doing weird dance moves, dressing up as Coco to try to like. I never forget that opening. He dresses as Coco to try to like lure you to, like basically lure you somewhere, and it is so bizarre. Crash is an idiot like usual, but he's not like I don't know. Crash 1 through 3, and then Bash and Wrath of Cortex. He was kind of like he had like a cool aspect to him. Now he's kind of just like a dope. He's like itching his head, like not knowing what's going on. I don't know, but I really enjoyed this game.
This was a mainline game, I'm pretty sure,
It
and I
was,
remember it. I remember it being a big because I played pretty much every Crash game.
Me too.
And I remember this game causing waves because Crash was in a wedding dress in some of the promo art.
Yeah,
it was weird. I don't remember much more about it than that, but it was very weird. But yeah, this game deserves less than a 70, even though I love Crash.
I freaking love Crash to Insanity. It definitely does. Oh my god, the game is so broken though. Hodge, there is also a Spyro cameo in it.
Hell yeah. Speaking of which, I am still just so devastated that they canceled the Crash Spyro game that was in development. That just makes me so sad. But yeah, there. I just shared the picture of him in the wedding dress. That's very weird.
Yeah, getting spanked. I forgot about that part.
Yep, yep, crashing. Yep, it's very very odd, but very 2004.
Wow,
that's funny.
Right. Good stuff. I have nothing to say about that. I haven't played a whole lot of Crash stuff. I played some, but
well, you suck.
Yeah,
they're more worth your time than anything Sean recommends.
that might
anime
be
crap.
That might be true. All right, so my number 3. Oh, go ahead, Sean. Defend yourself.
I was gonna say, Crash Bandicoot is my like 4th favorite video game series of all time. So
wow, okay. So my number 3 is going to be Star Wars Battlefront 2 from 2017. I think it was a 68 or something like that. This game came out and it was actually pretty decent, but I think the reason why it got hated on so much was the really aggressive like loot box and pricing models. I think they were really price gouging people hard, like trying to get them to spend a lot of money. But yeah, I thought this game was really fun. It's a competent shooter. It's a lot of fun to get in there and blast people down with your laser rifles. Pew, 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 pew. And also it's really cool when you like, you earn the right, you power up enough to like turn into one of the heroes. You can turn into Darth Vader, turn into Yoda, turn into the Emperor, running around shooting lightning at people or cutting them up with a lightsaber. Dude, it's awesome. You feel overpowered and you get to mess people up. That's a lot of fun. I think it's a good game. I've put in a fair amount of hours on this. I think it deserves better than a 68, but at the same time, I understand why it got a 68 because they were shady and greedy as hell with this. And you got to punish shady, greedy people. So
they did some significant upgrades to it over the years, and eventually they ended up offering it like for limited times for free. And I would hop in and play, and I was like, wow. I mean, I bought it like the day it came out for the Xbox One, but I remember playing it on PC like years later. I was like, wow, this is way better than it was when it released, for sure. So it's nice that they kept working on it. I'm sure it was a cash cow in some sense, but
really great graphics too. Really good graphics.
Yeah, it's one of those games that when it came out, like you said, it was busted and they were all greedy about it, so it just came out with a poor taste. But it was one of those that where they eventually got it to be a really good game, but the fan base had already moved on. But I mean, I didn't mind either of these Battlefront games, but the OGs were so much better. The ones for OG Xbox and PS2, those ones were so good that these ones just never lived up to it. And this one was also the one where they had the campaign, and it was the very typical, oh, you get to play as the Empire? Oh, nah, she's a turncoat. She becomes a rebel, and guess what? Fucking Han Solo and Lando and Luke Skywalker are all here because, gotta have the member berries. And so it was one of those where the story was not very good, even though I guess some people liked it, but I played it and I thought it was not good. But the multiplayer,
I had the original Battlefront 2 on PC, And this is when you still needed discs for PC because,
Yeah.
download speeds weren't what they are now.
Yeah.
And it came instead of being on like it must have been the era right when they were switching over because it came on CD-ROM instead of Blu-ray. And I think that it was 5 discs.
Wow.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's insane. Yeah, I had the OG Battlefront 2 and one on PS2. Those I actually they're playable through back and pat on Xbox still, and I played
They
them
were
with my
also
cousin.
re-released last year.
They what?
They were
They were
re-released
also
last year.
re-released last year.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I played it with my cousin.
It was a disaster.
Yes.
Yeah. Because they did. Yeah, the multiplayer was completely busted, basically, or something
had,
was
like,
wrong with it.
4 servers for the entire world to play on.
That's it. But you can actually just play the old ones back and pat on Xbox, and that's what we were playing. We didn't play those remaster ones, but it still holds up. It's so much fun. I love those games so much. This one, these never held up to me, but yeah, they're definitely, it's probably better than a 68. But yeah, the old OGs were just perfect games. I love them so much.
Yeah. All right, Hodge.
Yeah.
Number 3.
So next up is, I've talked about this game a bunch, but I still love it, and I'm going to say it anyway. It had a 63 on Metacritic, a 62 on OpenCritic, but going by Metacritic score, is The Order 1886. I love this game. The only problem I really have with it is it's a QTE game. I hate QTEs. It's the one thing I hate about the old God of War. I guess the new God of Wars too. Is I hate QTEs. They're stupid and dumb. But this game, it's still a graphical powerhouse. I think the gameplay's fun. It's the third person Gears of War type gameplay. The story is incredible. And I obviously, as you guys know, I love short games. So the fact that it's only a 5 or 6 hour game, that I like that about it, because it's like watching a long movie instead of, having to play it for 3 weeks. So I really love this game. And I think it's way better than a 63. It's not an 80, but it's better than a 63, I think. And I think it was overhated. But and it's a shame we'll never get the sequel. The developer, I think they were also bought by Meta, so they don't even make these. And if I remember right, they said they had a sequel I think it came out recently that they pitched a sequel, but Sony turned it down because it just didn't sell well and it wasn't well received, which sucks because it ends on a cliffhanger, which is a really cool cliffhanger that I would have loved to see resolved. I would love to see them put it out in a comic or a movie or show or something. Like this universe should live on. It's that awesome steampunk alternate history kind of world, and it's incredible. I love this game. Obviously I'm not trying to sell it to everyone and whatnot. It's a lot of people didn't like it, but I really, really loved this game. So yeah, Order 1886. By
the way, Oculus bought Ready at Dawn, and then now they're closed.
Oh yeah, they closed them. I forgot about that.
Last year.
Yeah, that sucks because I think this game deserved more. It deserved to be improved in a sequel. The world deserved to live on, but we'll never see it, which sucks.
All right. No one else has thoughts. Ben, number 3, sir.
Number 3. This one's a little more recent than some of the ones we've been talking about, and that's excuse me, High on Life. Mm-hmm. This game I think got like a 66 or 68, somewhere in there. 67.
Yeah,
and
I had it as an honorable mention.
I'm sorry?
I said I had it as an honorable mention. So
down.
Yeah.
There was nothing like surprising or amazing about this game, but I just thought it was funny and it was fun and I enjoyed playing it. And it didn't hurt that, of course, you recognize some of the voices and everything from various different media that's out there. But I just thought that this was a solid game, and it wasn't very long. I had a fun time playing it. The only thing I remember hating about this game is that there was I'm not an achievement hunter by any means, but if I'm playing a game, I'm going to try to get the achievements that are easy to get while I'm playing it. And there was a missable achievement, and it ended up being the only one I didn't get for the completion. And it was like at the very end of the game, and I was not going back to play it. But other than that, I thought it was a pretty solid game. I never played the DLC that they put out, and I know there was a lot of controversy with Justin Roiland after the fact. It didn't really affect my perception of the game because I played it, before that any of that happened, and I don't even remember what there was controversy. I remember there was controversy. I don't even remember what the controversy was.
It's one of those that came out to be bullshit, and he was kind of fired before.
Yeah.
All
okay. Well, whatever the case was, I don't know if that affected the long-term view of the game, but I don't know. I had fun with High on Life, and it was maybe you have to be a fan of a certain style of comedy to really get it. But it didn't like make me sit there and laugh out loud or anything. Very few things do, for that matter. But it was fun, and that's really all I need for a game to be is fun and not broken, or at least mostly not broken.
Yeah, this game, I did enjoy it too. I didn't finish it because I think one level bugged out for me and I just kind of fell off of it. I got pretty far into the game though, but like the knife is Australian. He's hilarious. They're all the weapons are voiced. It's very Justin Roiland humor. Like if you like Rick and Morty or Solar Opposites, you're gonna like it. But it wasn't as good as Trover Saves the Universe. That game was awesome. That I loved that game, and I looked it up just to see, and it had a 76 on Metacritic, so it wouldn't have obviously been included on this list anyway. But I loved that game. Yeah, this game didn't live up to that for me, but it was funny, and it played like a Xbox 360 era shooter. Like it was a little dated, but it's not in a bad way. It wasn't reinventing the wheel. It was just doing what it did. And it was obviously the focus of the game is the humor, not the gameplay. So it was, I think it's definitely better than a 67, but yeah, it wasn't incredible by any means, but I agree. This game is a fun one.
Yeah, I almost put this on my list because I did play and enjoy this game, but I actually made a choice not to put this on my list because I didn't want to give it any publicity. And the reason why is because I'm very disappointed with the studio and how they treated Justin Roiland. It really rubbed me the wrong way because they completely threw him to the wolves, kicked him out of the studio, threw dirt on his name. And even after the fact, he was basically exonerated. Like it came out that like the people who had accused him of those crimes, not only did they retract their statement, but they had to give him money. So it wasn't like he paid them off. They had to pay him. Like, so it was like completely BS allegations as far as I understand. And they never apologized. They never offered him his job back at the studio that he created that I know of. And I just feel like I don't want to support a team that would do that. Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, maybe he really is a piece of shit. Who knows? But as far as I know, I think he was in the clear.
I'm sure he's not an angel, but
yeah. You don't make Rick and Morty and be an angel. Like it's a
exactly.
Yeah. So, Sean, if you have any thoughts, otherwise you're next.
All right, here's my game. You guys are gonna be like, how does he have 2 games lower than this? But it's Balan Wonderworld at 51. A Metacritic score of 51. I love this game. I really, really love this game.
Like ironically?
No, like I really enjoy this game. I spent 80 hours in this game. I got the platinum. Okay, that's not how you spell. It's not Ball in Wonderland. Let me do it, man. Let me do it. All right, let me cook. All right, let me cook. Balan Wonderworld.
It's not a basketball game. I thought
no.
it was Ball in
Wonderland. This game is by no means is it a good. It's not even a good game. It is. It's not as bad as people say. People like to freaking destroy this game, and mainly probably because it comes from the guy who created Sonic, and then he got arrested and did all this other stuff. The draw distance is not good. Obviously, you're running, and all of a sudden there's enemies in front of you. But I did find that there are different costumes you get throughout the game, and they give you different power ups, and there are a lot of different levels. And they're very different and very diverse. Now, the game is very simple. It is like 2 button controls, and that can be a detriment to the experience sometimes. But I like, for example, Hodge. You would hate this game. You would. The platform is not good. You would absolutely hate this game.
I mean, I hated Lucky's Tale, or what is it? Lucky Tale. The Xbox one, I hated that one, and this one's even worse. So yeah, I probably wouldn't like it.
It is very frustrating because you put on certain costumes, then you can't jump. There are bosses at the end of each chapter that can be very frustrating if you don't have the certain costume you want, because then they don't tell you need that costume, so then you have to leave and go back and go into a level and get the costume and then go all the way back, and then if you get hit, you lose the costume, and then you're like,
oh my gosh.
So there are many things that will bring this game down, but I enjoyed it. It was a challenge, and I will say I got the platinum, 80 hours, and 40 of that were spent on the final trophy of the game. Farming these little, I don't even know what they were called, these little creatures you had to get, and you had to basically feed them and make them into certain things, and they contributed to this like giant like you ever see those things at airports where like it's like the kids section where like they drop a ball and you kind of just watch the ball go down like down these like tracks. I don't even know how to explain it. You know what I'm talking. You guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, you basically created a giant one of that. It was very odd, but yeah, I like Balan Wonderworld. Good game.
Did you just say you spent 40 hours doing that
on
to
one
get a
trophy.
platinum?
Yeah.
Sean, stop it. Get some help. Okay.
Oh, it was right before PAX East 2023, and when I got there, I had just got it, and Cog had known that I had just gone for it, and he looked at me and said, "Brother, you need a new life." It was so funny. I just laughed. But yeah, Balan Wonderworld.
I too am a big fan of Ballin' Wonderland, which is what I put in our doc. Now, I've obviously have not played this game, so anyway. Anyone else have thoughts on that before I go with mine?
No.
Okay. So tell me if this counts, guys. I don't know if this counts. If not, I have an alternate. Okay. So this was a port, basically a remastered port to a newer console. Fable Anniversary was a 68 on Metacritic. Are we going to count that, or do I have to pick another?
I mean, I did a remaster of Wolfenstein.
Awesome, because the original Fable was like an 83 or an 85, but for whatever reason, Fable Anniversary got a 68 on Metacritic.
Oh, wait, that's different though.
What?
See, yours.
What's different?
Hodge's Wolfenstein got ported and it was the same game. Yours got ported and it was a worse version. That's different. I don't care.
Yeah,
I'm just
it scored worse. I wouldn't say that it was the same game, but with better graphics. I think people were complaining that like it felt really dated and they didn't like the controls. They didn't remake the controls. They just remastered the graphics.
That's weird.
But I played it on the Xbox 360 when it came out, and I had a great time. I thought it was awesome. I didn't mind that the controls were slightly dated. You know.
Yeah. That's
a you problem. All right, just play the damn game, losers.
Yeah.
But no, Fable remastered, Fable Anniversary, not remastered. He wrote remastered. Come on now. Great game. Fable is awesome. Fable 1, Fable 2 is the best. Fable 3 is good too. But Fable Anniversary deserves much better than a 68. It's a great game. Awesome story, cool interactivity, be good or evil. You know, we all know about Fable. You guys have any thoughts on that one?
I love all the Fable games. And I played the original Fable, then I played Fable Anniversary, The Lost Chapters, and then I played Fable Anniversary. And I've since played it again, of course. But yeah, I've played that original Fable game probably 5 to 6 times, if I had to guess.
You know, I don't know if I've ever played The Lost Chapters. And I know people love it. Is that a DLC or what is that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a DLC.
Maybe I need to play that one these days because I don't think I have.
Yeah, I'll play him eventually.
Yeah, you will.
Yeah, okay.
That's the ongoing joke. Yeah, we know that.
All right. Hodge.
Yeah.
You are up, sir. And if you have bars for Fables, feel free.
Yeah, Fable, it was one of those, one of my buddies in high school really loved it. So I hopped into like the co-op a few times with him to do that kind of stuff. I think that was Fable 2, maybe. And I played it a little bit, but I was never huge in these games. I'm very excited to try the Playground one when it comes out, the reboot kind of the series. So I'm excited for that. But yeah, this is not one of those series that is so beloved to me like it is to others. But I understand why people love this series. But my game is, what are we at, number 2? This one is also one that shocked me that it was this low. Like, I didn't expect it to be an 80 or anything, but I did not expect it this low. And that is the Dragon Ball Z Budokai HD Collection, which had a 63 on Metacritic. That just,
wow, my cat is really mad about that score.
Yeah, right. No, like, I did not expect it because I mean, the original Dragon Ball Z Budokai, the PS2 one, it had a 67 on Metacritic. So I don't know why this HD collection, where they improved it and bundled 2 together, has a worse Metacritic. It's a 63. But yeah, I'm not a huge fighter game person, but the Budokai series was always my favorite growing up. I was obsessed with these games. And so when they had the HD remaster, which sadly didn't include Budokai 2, which I think is underrated, people didn't like it because it was like a board game campaign. So it was kind of weird for that. But
freaking awesome.
Yeah, I really loved it, and it has my favorite opening song to the series. But yeah, a 63. It just did not. It's not that bad. I don't understand why it was so low. I love these games. The first one was just a very basic go watch it. They make the show into cutscenes basically, and then you do the fights. And then the third one, you have to fly around the world and stuff and go to different locations. And that I really loved that. So yeah, I don't know how this got a 63. I remember it was my first game that I got 100% of the achievements in. I had never achievement hunted or trophy hunted or anything. And this was the very first Xbox game where I got all 100% of the achievements, or 1,000 gamer score or whatever it is. So yeah, I love this game. It does not deserve a 63.
It's probably because only 14 outlets reviewed it, and most of the reviews are saying we can't play this in widescreen, so they gave it like a really low review.
Oh, that's stupid.
The user score though is like an 85.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, because this game's awesome. So
Critics suck.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's all I have to say about it. So if anyone has anything, otherwise,
Benjamin, you're up.
My next game is the very unfortunate Duke Nukem Forever. And this game had like terrible humor. The gameplay was not that satisfying. But I'm such a huge Duke Nukem fan that I still loved it. I want to say this game got like low 60s, but I could be mistaken. I remember the lead up to this game, and it was in development hell for forever, was very long, and we were all looking forward to it, all us Duke Nukem fans. And it ended up just not being good. And really the biggest travesty of Duke Nukem Forever is not that it was a bad game, because it was a bad game. I want to reiterate, I had fun with it, which made it a good game to me. But I know that it was not a good game. But the biggest travesty about this game, other than the fact that it just wasn't that good, was the fact that it permanently damaged the, I don't want to say reputation of, but the perception of Duke Nukem forever. At least until the next one comes out that's good. Because the first few games, in the series were really good. You had the old side-scrollers, then you had Duke Nukem 3D, which completely upended a lot of different things in the industry. You had the ability to make maps for it, and they put all sorts of map packs. Then you had a couple of games that were middling, whatever, on the PlayStation 2, and I think there were even a few on hand. I know there were a few on handheld, and Duke Nukem has had its ups and downs, but Duke Nukem Forever, basically, with the changes they made to his character. He was always a macho man, always appreciated beautiful women, always, whatever. But Duke Nukem Forever just turned him into basically a pig that made potty jokes. And it just, whenever you mention Duke Nukem, people think about Duke Nukem Forever. And that's the thing like that they mention, and they're like, oh yeah, I got that for $3 over here if you want it, like when you're looking for retro games and stuff. And it's like, no, I already have every possible version of that game. I don't want that one. But that's my biggest problem with that game, is that it's not that it was a bad game, because I still had fun with it. It was just that it tarnished the decades long reputation that character had, and made it into something nobody wants to touch. Because the humor in the old games was not necessarily like pious or anything, but it certainly wasn't like, farts, that's funny, right?
yeah.
Or like oh, look, boobs. Like it was.
Yeah.
It hurt the image, and probably made it so that people don't want to touch it anymore, ever. And I don't even know. I think that Gearbox owned the rights for Duke Nukem at one point recently. I don't know who has it now, if it went to 2K or if it stayed with Gearbox or whatever. They're never going to touch it. They should go back to Apogee, and they could make it an old boomer shooter again with Duke in it, and that'd be great. But I digress.
Dude, I remember I played the demo for this game, and I didn't enjoy it that much, but I remember the reviews were basically like, they kept him as a 90s character, but in an unironic way. So the humor felt dated immediately. Whereas like they could bring him back and have him be like a stuck in the 90s kind of guy, and everyone be like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, kind of, they could do that easily, but yeah, I remember them saying the humor just felt dated, and it just didn't. For it being in development for isn't it the record holder for longest?
Not anymore.
Yeah, like I remember it was for a while.
Yeah.
I think like Final Fantasy 15 beat it or something, but yeah, I remember
Beyond Good and Evil 2, I think, is currently.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I forgot that one past it. But yeah, I remember that was kind of the biggest complaint, was like, in all that time, they didn't take the time to upgrade that part of it. They just kept the story basically the same and didn't update the humor at all. But
yeah. And like I said, the old Duke was like a little perverted, but not like,
yeah,
I'm bathing in women. Like,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they
his goal was to his goal in the old. I'm very passionate about this. His goal in the old ones was to like save the women of Earth from the aliens.
Yeah,
and in this one it was like, let's see how many of them like get into bed at the same time.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
All right. I'm gonna move on to my number 2. All right, my number 2 comes in at a whopping score of a 48 on Metacritic, and that is Digimon World 4. I mentioned this game last DLC episode, so this game is a huge departure from the regular Digimon series, Digimon World series. The first 3 were turn-based RPGs. This is more of an action hack and slash combat game, and you can play up to 4 players. You get to play as Agumon, Gimon, Doramon, and Vmon. I always was a big Vmon fan, and whichever Digimon you picked, you had like a certain kind of like weapon and a certain kind of almost like a class. Now, the reason why this game is so bad, for the critics, not for me, of course, this is a good game. The critics, in the critics' eyes, is that the process to Digivolve was really not really explained, and it kind of just like very ambiguous. The game is very unforgiving. When you die, you lose a lot of stuff. It was almost like Souls-like before Souls-like became a thing. No, I'm just saying that. The combat, the hitboxes on the enemies were like really inconsistent. It was really difficult to revive your party members too. It made you do a lot of tedious things, and you spent a lot of time doing things that like not crucial to the plot or not crucial to the gameplay. As far as the plot goes, I really couldn't tell you. I know you're trying to save the Digiworld from something. I don't know who the final boss is ridiculously hard, like insane. I remember getting to it like one. Me and my friend would play. It was just me and my friend, and his name was he would name his character something. I think it was like Mr. M, and I was Crin, Crin. We just go through. I know Leomon dies in the game, and that was like we're like, oh my god, Leomon! It's like it's like the prelude, and it was pretty crazy. But yeah, Digimon World 4, highly suggest it. 48 on Metacritic.
Jeez. I gotta say, I love that it's the same as when we did our adaptations episode with Locke. Like, we pick all these mainstream things that were just kind of bad, and then you find just these random ass just pieces of crap in the nooks and crannies of the world. Like, we had like Borderlands was Locke's least favorite like adaptation, and then Sean comes out with some Donkey Kong Country show that no one's ever heard of. It's just so you're coming out with these games that are you're coming out with these games that are 40 on Metacritic, and we're all sitting in the 60s.
You honestly have no idea how many hours I put into Digimon World 4 on GameCube. Like, this is the game we would play all the time, and I even brought it to college, and me and my roommate did like a run through of it my junior year of college.
That's so funny. Oh my god.
Vmon, best mon.
All right, so I'm next.
Yep.
With the number 1 game. I got nothing to say of Digimon. I never played it. So for this one here, this one was a 66. And it was Lightning Returns Final Fantasy 13. Now, this was obviously the 3rd game in the Final Fantasy 13 trilogy, the final game. And it was an action RPG instead of turn-based, so it was a bit different. Lightning running around, cutting people up with their sword. It was fun. It was good. I think it deserved better than a 66. It's the worst game of the trilogy, probably. 2 is by far the best, in my opinion. I probably liked Lightning Returns more than the first game, but I know that's an unpopular opinion. I know Sean likes the first game quite a bit. So, but yeah, Lightning Returns, Final Fantasy 13. It was a good game. It was a decent story. It was fun to go around as Lightning and cut people up within an action combat system instead of the normal paradigm shift turn-based. It has been a long time since I played this. I played this on the 360 when it came out in like 2013 or whenever it was. So I'm not going to lie to you and pretend that I remember what happens in the story. I don't remember a damn thing, but I do remember that I had fun and that I enjoyed it. So shout out to Lightning Returns Final Fantasy 13. I think the Final Fantasy 13 trilogy is slept on and underrated. I think it's something that if you're a Final Fantasy fan or a weeb, and if you did skip this trilogy for some reason because of the negative publicity probably, play it. It's not bad, especially part 2 is awesome. But yeah, shout out Lightning Returns Final Fantasy 13 is my number 1 pick. Thoughts, anyone? Sean, any?
I said this yesterday in one of the discords I'm in, that when Final Fantasy 13 trilogy gets inevitably re-released as the trilogy on PS4, PS5, Xbox, Switch, people are going to look at this game are going to look at the series a lot more fondly, just because people criticized it for being really linear, when in reality a lot of the mainline 3D Final Fantasy games up to that point were linear. People just wanted to hate on it, I think, because it released on Xbox. I think people were like, what? Final Fantasy's not a PS2 exclusive anymore, PlayStation exclusive, it's on Xbox. No.
So you're saying the Sony ponies ruined the rep?
No, I think it was more of the Final Fantasy ponies like myself. But I loved it when it came out. I didn't give it credit. I thought it was a 10 when it came out, but of course I was 13 when it came out. So
yeah, as an Xbot at that time, I was thrilled to have Final Fantasy on the 360. So yeah, it was like the first Final Fantasy that I really jumped in, I think. So yeah. Anyone else have thoughts? Otherwise, Hodge, you are up.
Nope. Before I go with my number one, I do want to say my honorable mention really quick, because it had no reviews, but I guarantee it would be well under a 70, because this game is hated by everyone except me, and that is Sonic R. It is a racing game that was on Sega Saturn. I loved this game so much, and I know it was hated by most people, but I enjoyed every moment of it. Unlocking like Robo Sonic and Super Sonic was awesome, and I loved it. But it has no reviews, so I don't know how it scored, but I know it was not a liked game. So that's an honorable mention. But
Can I guess what your number one is?
What?
Dustborn. No,
yeah,
Dustborn was a 68. I saw it on the list, and I thought of you.
My favorite one, yeah. Trigger and bully your enemies. But no, my number one is a 60 on Metacritic. I think it's a severely underrated game, but it really was a tech demo for the Xbox One, and that is Rise: Son of Rome. I loved this game. The story is so cool. Really, the only problem with this game is the combat is insanely repetitive. There's only like 2 or 3 enemy types, and you have to defeat them all the exact same way. So it was a very bad kind of gameplay. And I do remember there was also there's a catapult part of the game, or where you had, I don't know, it was some aerial kind of combat thing, and you had to say into the Kinect like catapult or something like that, or like release or something. Like, I can't remember what you had to yell into the Kinect to do commands during the battle, and it was so stupid, but it was obviously because Xbox made the bonehead decision of forcing the Kinect into everything. So that kind of brought it down. I think eventually they patched it to when they got rid of because I remember when the Xbox One launched, for those who don't remember, you had to have the Kinect attached. You couldn't disconnect it. It would break the system. And so I think once they patched it to where you didn't have to have the Kinect anymore, you were able to just hit a button to do those commands. But yeah, when it launched, you had to say into the Kinect, and it was so stupid. But I loved the story of this game, and it's still a gorgeous game. It was an Xbox One launch game, and 12 years later, it still looks really good, and the story is awesome. So I understand why it got a 60, because like I said, it was pretty much a tech demo to say, like, here's the power of the Xbox One. This is what it can look like, kind of thing. But the story was so good, and people sleep on that part of it. So I think it's better than a 60, but it's definitely not it's not even an 8 out of 10. I'd give it a 70 at worst, but yeah, I really liked this game. So Rise: Son of Rome.
Great pick. This would have been on my list too, but I knew that you were going to pick it, so I didn't. I knew this would be your pick.
Yeah, I've talked about this game a bunch, so
we both have. We love this game. It's great. Mm-hmm. It's very slept on.
Yeah.
Anyone else have thoughts? Otherwise, Ben, take it away.
My number one, again, in no particular order, but this one's probably lower on there, is Crackdown 3. Mm-hmm. In probably 2008-ish, 2009, maybe, my buddy was like, hey, you got to check out this game called Crackdown with me. It's so much fun to play in multiplayer. And so I missed the initial launch of Crackdown. Didn't even hear about it. I think that a lot of people heard about Crackdown 2 because there was a Halo demo on the disc. Yeah. It was like the...
I think there was
a Halo demo on one of the discs.
It was Halo 3. It was a demo.
Okay. And but Crackdown was so much fun just to play in the environment and play multiplayer. You could place like barrels and explosive barrels and run cars over them, and it was a sandbox game. Crackdown 2 came along, and it was fine. It was good. We still had a lot of fun with it. We played the heck out of it. And then there were 9 long years of waiting for Crackdown 3 until 2019 when it launched on Game Pass. And this was one of those games that had been in development hell for so long. It had been rebooted multiple times. They talked about all the new cloud technology they were going to do. They eventually started putting out commercials with Terry Crews because Terry Crews was in the game. And of course, that was going to make the game, phenomenal. And Crackdown 3 came out, and it was just fine. Like, it was fun. We had a lot of fun with it, and we had been looking forward to it. And we played it on Game Pass. I think I do own it now, but we had played it on Game Pass because, that's where it was. And we had a blast with it, but nobody else did. Anybody who didn't have love for the series didn't, because it didn't iterate. It didn't change anything dramatically. It didn't, it was so dated by that point. By the time it released, it was already like out of date because so many things had moved forward in giant sandbox games like that. And it was very repetitive. A lot of doing the same thing over and over. But the point was, we were having fun doing the same thing over and over, and we were having fun playing the multiplayer, and we were enjoying it quite a bit. Not a great story, not a great, it didn't move the industry forward or anything, but it's just so much fun that it was worth playing, and we had waited so long that we couldn't help it. There seems to be a theme with me and like waiting for a long time for a game and then it being bad. So maybe I gotta stop doing that. But anyway, yeah, Crackdown 3, definitely one of my, maybe not best games of all time, but one of my favorite games of all time, just because of all the memories around it and all the, the ability to play with friends. And I don't often like describe myself as a social gamer, but when I really think about some of my favorite gaming experiences, they've been social gaming. And so, Crackdown 3, check it out. By the way, Crackdown 1, when I went to buy it, it didn't exist in like stores anymore because it had been like, I don't know, a year since it came out, and it was already a more limited release, I think. So I ended up going to my local video rental store, and they had it for sale because, less people were renting it. They only needed one copy, so they were just selling off all the other ones. And I think I know I still have my original Crackdown game in the rental store box. They, how they like take the game out of the main packaging and put it in their own packaging. I still have it in the original box, and I was at one point I was like, maybe I should get a complete version of this. I was like, no, this is the way I played it. This is what I want.
There you
go. Yeah.
Okay. Ben, I noticed you didn't take the low-hanging fruit in this, which is nice. Your one of your favorite games of all time scored below a 70. Were you aware of that?
What is it?
Sea of Thieves, 69 on Metacritic. Very nice.
Yeah. I don't put a lot of stock in review scores for live service games.
Yeah.
Because that game at one point, probably a couple years ago, probably would have scored closer to a 90, honestly. Now I think it would probably score lower than it did originally when it came out, just because, so many server issues. It's a dated game. Everybody's figured out exploits and hacks and stuff like that. So, but no, I didn't even think of it because, I love live service, but I don't really consider live service review scores any form of valid because they change week to week. So, yeah.
Speaking of that kind of thing, with you, Midnight, obviously we can do another episode, so I don't know if maybe this was in your
I know what you're gonna say.
Top 10 was X Defiant was below a 70. Yeah. So
it was on my list.
Yeah. But and well, I guess we'll see because there's one that I was thinking about with Sean, but I guess he hasn't done his last one yet, so it might be his number one. But
yeah, Sean.
We'll see. Wait, no, it's not because it's lower than this, so never mind. Because the other one was the PS2 port of Chain of Memories. It's
going to be like a 13, huh?
Yeah. All right. My number one is a whopping score of a 19 on Metacritic.
Oh my
God. And this is Nickelodeon Party Blast, the PC game from, I think it was 2001, 2002. I played so many hours of this game on PC. To the point where me and that same person who would play through Digimon World 4 would play on the same keyboard. I would use the arrow keys and the spacebar and the enter. He would use WASD and I think Shift and C. And it is just a collection of mini games. You get to play as various Nickelodeon characters, hosted by CatDog, but he's not a playable character. The different mini games were very different than each other. You had a food fighting game where you could go through like the Krusty Krab was one level. Tommy Pickle's house was one level. Remember who's ever seen Invader Zim?
Oh yeah, I love that show.
Remember the like I don't know, it was like a restaurant they used to go to, and like the food would be like kind of like almost like come alive. Well, there was one of the areas was that there was a slime game where you'd score each other with slime. Now that I say that out loud, it's really weird. But yeah, it was really fun. Graphics are horrendous, but I'll never forget that opening cinematic. Woo! That hit for little 3 and 4-year-old Sean and Trevor. That really hit. Nickelodeon Party Blast, one of the greatest, most underrated games of all time. Love this game.
A 19? Jesus.
Yep, 19
Christ.
on Metacritic. And that's the Xbox version, but they didn't I don't think they reviewed the PC version, but it was essentially the same exact game.
Wow.
Runs like
That's the Xbox tax. That's why it was a 19, Sean.
yeah, it must
There
be
you
it.
go. Just kidding. All right. I didn't. None of us played that, I'm sure.
What do you mean? You never played Nickelodeon Party Blast?
No, I did not. But I actually just looked up. I was curious because I was thinking like those old Nickelodeon games were always just trash, but they wanted to obviously sell them to kids and, make some money off it. So I looked up and it doesn't have a review, which makes me sad, but I loved as a kid SpongeBob SquarePants Employee of the Month, and that game was
Oh my god, that was a great game as well. It was a really great point and click adventure game.
Yeah, but I don't know if it doesn't have any reviews, so I don't know how it would have scored. It has a high rating now because I'm sure people look back and nostalgically with it, but at the time, I don't know how it was received.
Well, IGN gave Party Blast a 1.1.
Jesus.
Which it's not broken. You can still play the game. You can beat the game. Like, I don't know.
That's crazy. That's so low. Yeah.
Yeah, 19.
It's great. I love it.
Like the game would have to like blue screen your computer to give it a 1.1. Like, what's going on here?
Yeah, right.
All right. So that does it. That is our 5 favorite games with the score below 70. Let's go through for the audio listeners real quick. Let's go through and recap our list. So I'll start us off. I had MLB 2K12, Golf with Your Friends, Star Wars Battlefront 2, Fable Anniversary, and Lightning Returns, Final Fantasy 13. Hodge, what did you have?
I had Ravenlock, Wolfenstein 3D, Xbox Arcade, I guess, technically version, Order 1886, the Dragon Ball Z Budokai HD Collection, and Rise Son of Rome.
Ben.
Mad Max 68, Brink 68, High on Life 67, Crackdown 3 60, Duke Nukem Forever 58.
Excellent. And Sean.
Star Ocean The Divine Force 69, Crash Twinsanity 64, Balan Wonderworld 51, Digimon World 4 48, and Nickelodeon Party Blast 19.
Woo.
19.
All right. So some great games. Let us know in the comments, folks, what you guys thought if you played any of these games and what horrible games do you love. Let us know. But yeah, that's going to go ahead and do it for us. Let's go around the horn and do our final thoughts, shall we? And let's go ahead and start with our extra special guest, Ben. Final thoughts for episode number, whatever this is. I think 28.
I'm about to sneeze, so I'll make this quick. Thanks for having me. I enjoyed it. I always like talking video games, period. Like that's just what I want to do. So, yeah, it's always fun to hang out with you guys too. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you. Thanks for your time. Sean Mason, final thoughts for the episode, sir.
Great episode. Happy to have Ben here. It was really fun talking games, talking about bad games we enjoy. Midnight, cover athlete, MLB 2K12. Who was it?
You already told me it was Verlander.
Yeah. What's his first name?
Justin.
How many teams did he play for?
I know he played for the Tigers, and I think he went to the Astros, and I don't know beyond that.
All right. Don't worry about it.
Wasn't he a
Close
pirate?
enough.
Or am I
I get partial credit. All right. So you're done with your final thoughts? You just wanted to roast me? Okay. Gotcha. My final thoughts, as always, just thank you guys. Leave us likes. Support our show. We appreciate you. Thank you so much, Ben, for showing up and giving us 2 hours and 20 minutes, basically, of your time when you're not feeling good. We hope you feel better soon. You are awesome. We appreciate you. Hodge, final thoughts, sir.
Just happy to be here. I love talking about games that people hate that I'm like, I liked it, so shut up, kind of thing. So I like liking things that are hated by everyone. It makes the conversation fun.
Yeah. Because everyone else has bad opinions, Our opinions are good. other people's opinions aren't.
Yeah.
So,
and of course,
that's
thank
what it
you,
is.
Ben, for joining us because it's always fun chatting games with you.
For sure, man.
Always welcome. Always welcome. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and get up out of here, guys. Hope you guys enjoy your day. This is, by the way, if you might have noticed this is going to start going live an hour earlier. We're going to start putting these out at 7 Eastern instead of 8 Eastern. That way, you early commuters will have a better chance of being able to listen to this on your commute. And please do let us brighten your Monday. All right. Give us some listen time. Okay. We're here to entertain. And we're going to get out of here. This has been Games Over Plastic, episode 28. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
See ya. Why am I making pudding at 4 a.m.? Because I've lost control of my life.
Is that Rugrats?
Yes, it is. It is Rugrats.